Hello, everybody. Funny words. It's my mistake for being late on every level. Well, some of it's Spoons. In that, I didn't know he
Wait,
wanted
we're
me to
live
set up
now?
the stream.
Yeah, now we're live.
Yeah, now we are.
Don't worry, the Esla was muted. I didn't say that out loud.
We're joined tonight by Harry Robinson.
Oh my god.
What's up, Harry? How
Hi
you doing?
there, guys. Well, it's just one of those days.
It really is. So I didn't know we started this call, and I was like, "Spoon, where's the link?" And then he had wanted me to set it up. I didn't even know that I was going to be in this stream until maybe at like 6 o'clock, so like 2 hours ago.
Like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you forgot
I set it up.
You forgot when you're on a different stream. Thought it was
Yeah, I thought I had a stream tonight. I thought I had a stream today, but it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Guys listening right now, like the level of organization that goes into these things is like immaculate. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Harry.
By which I mean none at all. None.
And then on top of that, YouTube has just changed its back end. So if I make a stream that is not in the Broken Crown Weekly stream like playlist or whatever, it changed the stream key. So then that's why we're a little bit extra late. But now we're all here. Everything's cool.
Finally, yeah. We're all
So
good.
apologize for being late.
Also, heads up, I'm working with a
Oh shit.
well, so like I will cut
out.
in and
Yeah, like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just gonna like bundle this XLR cable as close to me as possible. I'm gonna cuddle it all stream so that I can hope that it doesn't fuck up.
Harry's also on like maybe not the best internet
chair
connection.
that I'm sat on is breaking.
Oh no!
The chair that I'm sat on at the hotel is actually falling apart because of my immense. Oh shit! How is this happening?
How could this happen?
Anyway,
Apparently
let's
nothing is
move.
going right
If you
here.
Yeah,
if you hear a crash and a scream at some point, we all know what's happened.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
Okay. Yeah. What? Look, it can only go up from here.
Right, I'm gonna try and quickly
Allegedly.
like DIY this chair, folks. So I'm just gonna like mute myself for a sec.
That's fine. You have the watch together up. Oh, Spoon, how about this?
Yeah.
Also, why don't you? Because I am mostly here to only provide any kind of commentary regarding PhD thesi and the academic process and how standard deviations work. I don't know anything about fitness, so why don't you introduce the topic that I know nothing about, besides the drama?
Yeah, so this basically kicked off because a couple of days ago, Harry and I, in our group, were on Discord, and this video came across my my recommended tab when I went, oh, look, someone's getting their PhD shredded. Fucking fun times. And I sent it to Harry, and he went, oh, it's on my view stream for later today. I went, really? He went, yeah, okay, fine. And then I watched it, and I went, oh my god, this is fucking great. Like, Harry and I should stream about this. And he essentially went like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And we decided to do it today. It involves I
fixed the chair.
For those of you who don't know this, well done
Things
with
are
the chair.
finally coming up Millhouse. It's gonna be all right from here on.
Yeah, things are coming up Millhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you messaged me that, I think I was literally already watching that video, which was the first one. Of course, there has been a second Solomon Nelson hit
the tower and the mic.
Solomon Nelson did two videos. The first one is the one that we're looking at, where he just shreds Mike Israetel's terrible PhD, which confirms kind of what we all already suspected, which is that university exercise science is fake and gay, and also that like the whole science-based lifting stuff on YouTube is a massive grift.
Yeah, basically.
Right. I think to kind of frame it for people like myself who have no idea what's going on, though, is that this guy is a very popular fitness guru. Would you call him that, or something to that effect?
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
I would
considering what he
I would
says, you can
say
call him an
that he's
influencer
probably
at
like
this point.
the biggest.
Right.
As far as science
And
goes,
He's,
yes.
I think Renaissance periodization. Yeah, I think.
The stream is gonna
he
kill
very much.
Harry.
I know. I'm sorry. It's fucking so shitty. He
I
goes
think,
by
okay, I've got it in
Dr.
his, I've
Mike,
got it in like a
right?
in every video. Yeah, I think his channel, Renaissance Periodization, which is part of a larger business, which isn't solely owned by him, which was relevant context for later. I think they are the biggest YouTube fitness channel alongside Jeff Nippard, who is the second video that Solomon Nelson has put out this morning is aimed at, because he came to Mike's defense, because these guys all have a little cartel where they all boost and support one to back each other up. It's like they're citing each other as sources constantly, backing each other up.
Yes.
And for some extra context, this is actually, I would say, part of a larger controversy, which has been attacking all of these same people at once, or is surrounding all of these same people at once. Because if you remember, was it last month, Spoon, or the month before, where Jeff Nippard went of his way to try and promote and defend a load of obviously fake natties? Because I did some videos on Lotus Eaters about that.
He did, and he also tried to promote the whole fucking fake meat thing, the lab-grown meat shit, which was fucking insane. Why? Just, dear God, no. Absolutely not.
So for extra context for the audience, like, this may surprise some of you, like, steroids are bad.
Whoa.
Mind-shattering stuff.
If you take steroids, you won't necessarily die, but you're likely to shorten your life significantly for short-term gain. Like, because the second you stop doing steroids, all of your muscles will deflate immediately, but you'll still be left with, heart problems, skin problems, hormonal problems, your balls will shrink.
Yeah.
And there's this big problem with expectations set online by people claiming, especially on Instagram, to be natural lifters with huge physiques and major transformations in as short as 18 months. In some cases, where some guy's gone from a tiny little skinny twink with no muscle at all to suddenly ballooning and looking like a professional bodybuilder, seemingly overnight. Loads of kids see this. They see that these people say that they're natural, and they think to themselves, oh, I can make that transformation. And when they don't, they may be considered that they're going to hop onto steroids themselves, because it can give you body image issues.
It does.
Right?
Instagram
Jeff
in particular
Nippard
has been studied for that, how bad it is for men and women.
Yeah. Oh, Liver
Just-
King.
Yeah, so Jeff Nippard, who is alongside Mike the biggest YouTube fitness channel out there, a few months ago he did this big video on how you can look enhanced without taking steroids. And in that video, he includes a load of these guys, like in particular, there's one called Hussein Farhat, who is very controversial, and there's a few others whose names I can't remember, but they're very obviously fake natties. They are definitely on steroids, but he carried water for them twice because he did that video saying that they're natural. And then when people said, bullshit, no, they're not, a week later, he posts another video not addressing any of the arguments that they were making, kind of gaslighting people, and then just following it up again. Mike Israetel, I think last week or the week before this controversy drops, does a video again defending Jeff Nippard, repeating a lot of the same arguments that Jeff was making, not addressing many of the complaints that people had about the dishonesty that they were getting, and also front loads a load of it with a lot of weird fawning compliments to Jeff, where he's like, oh, he's beautiful, he's so handsome, because Mike's got this weird thing where he has to load everything in with a gay joke. It's very, very strange, insecure, attention-seeking behavior. So that's some of the context towards this. All of these people very dishonest.
You cut out after dishonest. Sorry.
Yeah, they're dishonest and they back each other up.
Right.
I'm looking at that Hussein Farhat guy. This fucking dude. You think this dude is natural? Get the fuck out of here.
And these guys
Like,
all claim to have some sort of
That
academic
guy
or
is
scientific bona
clearly
fides.
not fucking natural. Get the fuck out of here. You can just see by his fucking leanness and his chest size. No, he's not fucking natural.
Aiden, they all...
Fuck out of here. Not a chance in hell.
Yeah. I mean, with Hussein, it's the speed of the transformation is one thing, but other people have pointed out there's like an enhanced look, which is, you know, you're natural, same as me, which means that if you've not finished at the gym and you're just like not in the middle of a pump, you'll probably look skinny, you'll look tiny in comparison to how you look with a pump. Whereas if you're enhanced, you kind of have a 24/7 pump to you, where your muscles always look inflated to their maximum. And that's what a lot of these guys have as well. But to answer Aiden's question, yeah, Dr. Mike Israetel is like officially university credentialed a doctor,
Yes.
which is what this whole PhD thing is about, because he is we'll see some of the clips. He's quite notorious for like 85% of the advice that he gives is good, but it's like common sense, normal lifting advice. The other 15% that marks him out, that he uses his whole, I'm science-based to justify,
I'm
is
Dr.
bullshit
Mike.
and will hold you back. And it's significant, and it's significant enough that it could not only hold people back, but keep them small. And I do think that's part of this whole grift, is to keep people eternally spinning their wheels so that you can trap them in the monetization
Infinite money
traps,
glitch.
where, you can you can get my app. And once you've got my app, you'll get slightly better snail's pace, so that you'll be dissatisfied enough with the results, but still see results to stay on the app forever, constantly giving me money. But he's said in the past that one of the reasons that he got his PhD was because Dr. Mike would carry way more authority than just Mike, a guy who lifts.
Yes.
Jeff Nippard as well.
Yep.
I don't think he's got a doctorate. Yeah. I don't think he's got a doctorate, but Jeff Nippard has taken part in a lot of actual studies. Fair play to the guy. He has conducted some studies or helped other people conduct studies. And he does this thing. And you probably have seen this with not lifting channels, but other kind of like science-based channels, where he'll be explaining something. He'll say that there have been studies done on it recently, kind of backing up the point that he's trying to make. And to show that there have been studies done recently, he won't explain it. He won't name the study. He won't even give you the introduction or general thesis of the study. He will just flash it up for 2 seconds on screen, the cover page of it, and then it will vanish. And sometimes, Mike's way worse for this, but Mike doesn't even like list the studies. He doesn't even include the sources of studies in his links and descriptions on his YouTube. He'll just say, a recent study has been done which says this.
Yeah, that's why, for better or for worse, I actually explain what the study does, because you have to go through it. That's sketchy in and of itself.
Yeah. Archeon for 2 asks you, Harry, what's your thought on
But
Jeff
that's why
Cavalier?
they've got such huge audiences, and why they... Jeff Cavalier, there's quite a few Jeffs in YouTube fitness. He's Athlean X, isn't he, Cavalier?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say...
I think he has some goofy workouts, and he's way too focused on like injury prevention, even in lifts, which are tried and tested and unlikely to injure you as long as you're just doing them with correct form. But I don't find him anywhere near as egregious as a lot of these other guys. Yeah. And I would also say, he had that whole controversy with fake weights a few years ago. But frankly, in comparison to some of these recent controversies, like, pretending that he can lift 600 pounds as a deadlift when he can only lift like 450, that's nothing in comparison to these recent dishonesties that we're seeing all the time.
Yeah. I would say like the top 3 ones as far as fitness, as far as I'm aware, is Israel Nippard and Athlean X is Jeff Cavalier. I would say Jeff Cavalier is the best out of those 3 by a fucking mile. And it's not even close. Because at least I can learn anatomy shit from Cavalier, whereas Nippard, I did not like Nippard because I've seen videos of him where he contradicts previous studies. So it makes me just think like you just cite
Well,
studies when it's useful for the video that you're trying to push. And
oh
that's something
yeah,
that
that's
I'm
all science is to a certain extent. When you're constructing your literature review, now a good scientist would say, maybe you might say, here's some contradictory evidence. That's why we're doing the study to confirm or whatever. But
yeah.
generally speaking, now it's hard to do because you're trying to sell a point, right? I do understand that to a certain extent.
Yeah,
That not
and
every single video necessarily can,
Well,
or every
they're
single piece of advice can build
total.
on the other. But they're totally different. They're completely
Well, they're
conflicting.
total trend hoppers.
Yeah,
yes,
right. Yeah.
absolutely.
They jump from one trend to another for the algorithm. Where they'll. Do you remember Spoon late last year and early this year, where it was all about lengthened partials? You need to go into the deep stretch, bro. And then when you're in the deep stretch, you don't need to do a full contraction. You can just keep it in the lengthened position, and that'll give you just as good gains, if not better gains. Like Mike Israetel was all about that because that was being promoted by his lapdog, Milo Wolf. Jeff Nippard spoke about this. I will give Nippard some credit, is that he did he involved himself in a study that actually tested the efficacy of lengthened partials versus full range of motion and found that full range of motion was just as good, if not slightly better most of the time,
No
which,
shit.
well, yeah, obviously, but you didn't
Yeah.
really need to do a study to be able to tell that. I mean, if
Yeah.
nothing else, like the range of motion for full range of motion is clear. How far can you move your arm into the contracted position? How far can you move your body into the lengthened position? There's full range of motion for you. Lengthened partials was just kind of confusing because it's completely arbitrary where you decide to cut the rep off, is if it's
Yeah.
in the lengthened position. So it actually just makes things way more confusing, but it sounds sciencey. And that was all these people were talking about for a solid 6 months. And it was all off the basis of like one or two very low grade studies. And then Jeff Nippard goes and does one study that says, actually, you might as well just do full range of motion. And then
Yeah.
they all drop it overnight and they go on to the next. They go on to the next trend. That's all these people do. Although to be fair, there's not been a new huge trend in the whole science-based lifting since lengthened partials, which is one of the reasons I think that they've been going out of their way to court controversy with the whole fake natty thing. Like, there's no way Jeff didn't know what he was doing, getting Hussein Farhat and those other guys into that video.
I would say based on I would say bodybuilding in general and just fitness in general, as well as, you know, bodybuilding shows, Mr. Olympia. I think nowadays people are far more likely to do drugs than focus on the training. Because it seems to me it's way more based on appearances than based on
and part of it's
actually-
all about that
It's easier.
Instagram.
It's the Instagram. Again,
Yeah.
I looked into this maybe 2 years ago now, but particularly male influencers and the manosphere or whatever, the lifting stuff in Instagram, because there's quite a lot of literature on it. And it
Those
is
guys are all
like,
fucking on drugs.
well, yes, they are.
Overwhelmingly.
And the effect that it has on young men in particular is fucking terrible, because it does give them, and you, I think, mentioned that you think this Israetel guy has body dysmorphia issues as well.
Oh God,
Which would
yes,
explain maybe some of his
absolutely, he
behaviors.
fucking does.
Oh, huge.
So it's basically
Massively,
a
obviously
massive
does.
social contagion system that is actively causing harm to young men or men of any age, I guess, and also sapping their money by being on this infinite, I guess, sign up for my club thing, sign up for my app kind of shit.
They all have apps.
It's
They all have
incredibly
apps.
predatory.
They have fitness apps. They have nutrition apps.
The thing is, for me,
And if it's not the apps, it's the workout programs. And part of Solomon Nelson's video he did this morning about Nippard was about how he started criticizing Jeff Nippard's programs, his workout programs, that he was charging people money for that were actually worse than the general advice that he was giving on his free YouTube channel. And one of the one that he started off with was some bench press program to try and improve your bench. Literally impossible given the range of weights and percentages and the sets and reps involved.
Oh,
it was
God,
like
yeah.
physically impossible for somebody to do it.
Yeah, it was
Like
it was
80,
like 5
what was it?
sets.
Four sets of 4 to 6 reps of your 85% of your 1 rep
One
max
rep max.
on a bench press.
Yes,
Like
that's
4 to
fucking
6.
insane.
Like yeah, 85% of your 1% max. That's stupid. You can't do that. And his video was criticizing that. But imagine you're a Jeff Nippard fan. Imagine you've been watching his stuff on YouTube for a while. You've got some decent advice, and it's all free. So you think to yourself, well, if this is the
Free shit and the better
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
free
Must
stuff,
be hidden behind the
imagine
paywall.
my bench press. So I'll pay for this bench press program, and it's literally, theoretically, and practically impossible for you to. But Jeff's a good guy. He gives such good advice for free. It can't be Jeff's fault for programming something that doesn't work. It must be my fault. And then you get and then you get
Yes.
dissuaded, or you think maybe
Something's
if I
wrong
just
with
put
you.
more money into it somehow, then
And you'll also
it turns
be
into
seeing-
sunk cost.
Don't a lot of those communities? I don't know about these, but don't they also have like user response stuff so people can post their own progress? And then if you see other people, or it's working for other people who may or may not, be in on it, or may not be on drugs, then that can also like create this cycle of I'm the problem. It's me, and not that this is a scam.
I would say the reason why I didn't buy into the steroid thing is because A, it's illegal, one, and if I just look at the side effects of that shit, like I already have an unusually high heart rate. That stuff will fuck with your heart, your head, your skin. That's the main thing that I wouldn't touch it for, because if something's going to aggravate my skin, I already have sugar for that. If anabolic steroids, fuck that. Big muscles, but I have massive acne breakouts.
Oh yeah, they give you terrible
thanks.
acne.
Yeah, no thanks. Fuck that. There's no amount of muscle gains I will ever sacrifice if it's going to damage my skin. That's not even a fucking option. So as far as avoiding it was very, very easy for me. But just like being...
I mean, personally, I just... Yeah.
I could never go on that shit knowing that the reason why I'm big is because of this fucking shit that I'm taking and not what I'm exercising. That to me is why. I can't circle the square there. That, like, from a mindset perspective, that to me
it feels like
does not make
cheating,
any
right?
sense. Yeah, exactly. And it's like
And
turning your
there's
body
the
into like a
other thing.
chemical
Personally,
lab.
I'd like to live past 40 years old.
Yes, exactly. Same here. And there's so many bodybuilders that have been dropping dead.
Like, personally, I want to live past
3 years.
40. I don't want to...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When also
And I went through
but,
acne when I was a teenager. I don't want to go through terrible acne again.
Yeah, same here. Fuck that. I still get breakouts now if I eat too much sugar.
And
so
also,
that's
I
one of the
don't want to
reasons why my diet
develop,
is
like...
that.
Yeah, and I think my balls are just perfect the size they...
Thanks for that.
Well, I mean, it's very true. Like, in terms of that's something you should consider. You do have to consider that if you think about going on this stuff. Problems with testosterone, which is going to be hormone problems. Obviously, that's kind of stuff you have to take into consideration very seriously. It's the same thing with all the Ozempic stuff. Because my only sort of experience in this area is the girl side of things, which is fat women making excuses for being fat, essentially, which I personally also find very entertaining. So I mean, like I think that's the woman version of this, and so the opposite, literally. Yeah. But yeah, there's been no longitudinal studies on Ozempic. And yet, tons of people take that not thinking.
There's a
about what happens down
lot
the
of people
line.
that take that shit, and as far as I know, women that are going that shit,
Yeah.
like it really fucks with the look of
Face?
their
What's it called?
that too,
Buccal
but
fat?
also their sex organs.
Yes.
Apparently it really fucks with their vulvas.
But doesn't it? Shit! I don't know if you can say that on YouTube. Just kidding. But I agree, though. At least from my perspective, which is totally outside, it seems like cheating. Wouldn't that be not as fulfilling
But
to
see,
get those
that's
results if you didn't do it yourself?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. People do not. There's two types of people who lift. There's people who lift because they are chasing some kind of high through the training because they enjoy the training. They legitimately want to see like strength gains because they enjoy that process. That would be me. And then there's people for whom exercise is a means to an end. And if it's a certain look that they're trying to chase, and they think they can get that looks through drugs rather than pushing heavy ass fucking weight, or possibly a combination of both, then they will hop on the drugs and do that kind of shit. Is Spoon at it? Yes, I am natural. Dear God, I would not want to be on steroids. I think it would really fuck up my appearance. I will say though,
Your emotions, and your ability.
I'm
to
already
control emotions,
irritable as it is.
Exactly. You'd be
You
insufferable.
Yeah, thanks for that, Aiden.
Love you too, buddy.
No, I do agree that I think if I was on steroids, I would be an irritable, cranky son of a bitch. Not a fan. I already hate people enough as it is, so I don't want to go through that shit. I will say though, there is a part of me that is curious what I could get my back to look like, just width-wise, because I already have a pretty decent back as it is. My back looks like an anatomy chart. And I know because I've seen it, I can see it in the mirror. So all of the, the rhomboids, rear delts, straps, all of it is nicely detailed. So I'm happy with that. Get Harry back in because Harry's Discord dropped.
Oh,
so,
shit.
Yeah, because I changed the region just to see if it does something. I didn't mean to not carry off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what? Hang on. Actually, I don't know how to. Shit. You might have to recall. Because I don't think I can add into the call now that's dropped. Because now we're just in our DMs. Wait a minute. How happened?
No. It's still there. What, do you want me to restart the call again?
Oh, wait, no, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's ask Harry. No, get back here. Aiden, you... Oh, yeah, there we go.
No, I didn't have it. It's just I thought it said add to call, and it just started a call between me and Harry. So I don't know. I think he just has to rejoin.
Yes, he does.
Oh, yeah, it just dropped. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He's on his phone.
Anywho,
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. While we're waiting, Lamented Guide for $50. Thank you so much. Sends a yellow lemon guy spinning around. Thank you so much, Lamented.
Lemon?
I think his head looks like a lemon.
Yeah, there's a leaf on his head.
A little lime, or is it a pear? Magrum Bilf for 5 says, "Get good." Little hippo guy. Thank you. We got Arsen's comment, and then Mario Trillo, who's been a member for 8 months, says never trust someone who is selling you something. Pretty much is just a good standard to live by. I mean, not in every case, but it's a good,
Like Harry come back, you can blame it
standard.
on yeah, possibly.
I am going to blame it all on you because you didn't tell me that I was supposed to be hosting.
Well, I'm the one who phoned him.
I thought I could be lazy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, Harry's
back
on his PC now, so give him a second.
Cool.
And he should come back.
In terms of the broader stuff about this, we should probably get into the video. Because we've been going about a half an hour, which I wanted to say anyway. Yes, that's what I mean, obviously.
Greetings,
hello.
welcome back, Mr. Man of the North.
1 second.
Am
I back?
For us.
Yes,
there we go.
you go.
We're back. We're so back, guys.
We are so back. Slosher for 50 says, thanks for talking about this. I only started lifting about a year ago, so this is good info. Also, Dr. Mike is one of those Jon Stewart whites. Talks crap about whites and positively about other groups when convenient. Many such cases, aren't there?
Oh, so this will be really funny.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the funny thing about
Is he
Israetel.
Jewish? His name's Israetel.
Yes, he's 5'5" and Jewish. We were talking about this before.
He's what Nixon would have called a natural spy.
God damn, Harry. By the way, so much.
Well, he's natural at one thing at least.
So much of his personality and what he's done and this whole situation is just so those people. It's not even funny. Like it's borderline.
He's a walking stereotype.
Yes, of so many caricatures.
If I was Jewish, I'd be so insulted by this man's existence.
the thing is that about his physiognomy though, to me it really looks like anti-Slav propaganda. I don't know how else to describe it.
No, he's got
the Untermensch, and quite literally because he's so tiny.
Oh god.
I don't know how else to describe it. Well, Spoon, pull up the the video or something. Well, he's on the thumbnails. If people don't know what he looks like, I mean, it does not look like propaganda.
No, I'll see if I can
Spoon,
pull up the picture.
Spoon, you know the picture. You know which picture you need to bring up, Spoon.
Is it the one with on the pullover machine?
Oh, that one that you showed me.
Well, there's that one. I was more thinking his post-surgery picture.
Oh,
you know how you
God.
mentioned he's got really bad body dysmorphia, Aiden? Well, instead of just dieting and losing weight, he decided arbitrarily that he had love handles from when he used to bulk that just physically won't go away because of all the fat cells he built up and because they carry loads of water, even when he's really low body fat percentage, despite the fact that he's maybe been 12% body fat lowest in his entire life, right? So he decides to get surgery to remove the love handles. And there's a picture he posted on his Instagram afterwards, which is less than flattering.
Yeah, I'll pull up the picture.
He's also had like a permanent waist trainer installed.
That's what
right.
He wants
Is that
to
this
get
guy?
Yeah.
Oh no, he wants.
Yeah,
I think. To be done.
I think he unironically in interviews has said that he wants to get like 1 or 2 ribs removed so that his waist can be thinner.
Yes.
This man's like coming up to his mid-40s and he's doing all of this to chase failed bodybuilding glory.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, just
that is insane, though.
Yeah. By the way, Harry, I have the picture. By the way, I have it up on screen.
Good man.
That's the one that you wanted. That is just like what the.
Oh my
fuck?
God. Oh my.
That's blood, by the way.
Dude, what? Really? No way.
By the way, I don't think that's blood because that's way too bright.
Why is it so red? Yeah. I mean,
actual blood doesn't look like that.
It might just be editing. To highlight it.
Yeah.
Color corrected.
They look like they've done some color stuff.
But the real question is
very bright.
Why?
Why even in these pictures, he just looks so short.
He does.
Well,
you can
because
tell.
he is, Harry.
What? Why would you post a picture that makes it look like you shit blood on the internet? I don't understand. I genuinely cannot comprehend why you would post this.
Yeah.
Well, this is the guy who's telling other people how to exercise properly, and also what Spoon mentioned about how he shits on like whites but loves other people so much. I've never watched it, but I've seen clips from it. He has a second channel where he talks philosophy and religion and politics. Yeah, I've seen clips from it, and he took the most famous clip I've seen it is one where he just says like, "Oh yeah, listen, Christians out there." Oh, that's a good picture. That's a great picture.
Oh,
I want to show this one to people. Look how fucking short this dude is. How the fuck do you not only off? Yeah, how do you not reach the floor in a pullover machine and not the bar? Like, unless this is a machine meant for people of like.
You have it on screen.
Yeah, like 6'8".
Well, the thing is, it's got an adjustable seat. It's got an adjustable seat, and he's got it all the way at the top. You can see. Look. Yeah, look, it's got pins on the seat. You can see where it can go to lower levels.
Yeah, but Harry,
the reason
so he has to have it at the top just so he can have his elbows on the pads.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that.
Right.
And there he can't even reach the bar. Like you can't do a pullover like this. It'll be really fucked up. Because
he's got
grab
really
the bar
short arms
and
as well.
Pull
You're right.
with your you pull through the elbows to pull out the bicep from the exercise. That's the whole fucking point. The whole point of a pullover is to do the pullover without involving the biceps. That's the whole bloody point of that machine.
He's 5'5".
He claims to be 5'6". I don't fucking believe that.
Either way, that's shorter than me, and I am taller than average woman. But that is
By the way, Harry, have you used one of those machines before?
Yeah, I love the pullover machine. There's one at my gym.
Yeah, there's one at my gym as well when I was back in Ireland. It's probably my favorite machine ever. And really,
Yeah,
really a
after I saw
hell of a light
Mensa
exercise.
using one in one of his exercise videos, I thought,
Yeah.
damn, that looks like it's good.
It does really work the back way more than a dumbbell pullover. Although I recently grabbed an easy curl bar because I saw someone do one with an easy curl bar, and I just thought, okay, well, if I could just hold my arms at like a 90-degree angle, at roughly the same that you would with the bar on the pullover machine, and just do it like that. And I figured out you can load the crap out of an easy curl bar and get roughly the same kind of effect. It doesn't quite feel the same as...
I never thought to try it.
Yeah, I didn't think to do it either. One day I was just doing lying tricep extensions, and I went, can I? Because I landed myself in the emergency room with pullovers before, which is why I'm hesitant to ever do it with a dumbbell again. Yeah, like a 5-kilogram cast iron weight plate came off and hit me in the forehead.
Oh my god!
And there was blood. Yeah, there was blood all over the floor.
That explains so much.
Yes, there was blood all over the floor.
All,
to this
all
day,
coming together now, isn't it?
there was there's a massive streak of blood on my my weightlifting belt to this day. I just went like, I'm keeping that as a trophy. They'd never do that.
Yeah,
again.
You should. Right?
Yeah.
No, you have to keep your blood-stained trophy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember because the way I was doing it, there's a massive, fuck off thick, a rubber mat on it. And if I just looked at it in a certain light, all you just see is just this huge red stain of a copious amount of fucking blood all over the floor that came from my head. Obviously, I cleaned that part out. But yeah, fun times. And to this day, if I still touch like a certain part of my forehead, I can feel the scar on top of my head. So yeah, that's permanent. But probably will not do that exercise again. Hence why I was doing it with the easy curl bar, because I don't want something near my fucking forehead again, because that was gnarly. It hit me like just above the eye, so I was dangerously close to give myself potentially very lethal concussions. Yeah, that's so you live and learn. Just don't do that shit again. There's some things a lot of people don't know about me.
Probably best to keep it that way.
Yes.
I don't mind.
Should I get through these?
Just to finish what I was saying before the tangent. His philosophy and religion channel, the clip that I keep seeing of him that goes about on Twitter sometimes is him saying, listen, Christians, I'm going to level with you here right now. God, probably not real. I know that you want him to be real, but he's like a fairy tale, big man with a beard in the sky. No chance that's happening. And it was just like, all he needed was to be rubbing his hands together while he was saying it.
Yeah.
It was so stereotypical. It was pure. Really? What?
Yes. Oh, you haven't seen the clip?
No. What was it? What's he said about the Dutch?
He hasn't said anything about my people.
Did he call you? But I thought you meant windmill tilting clog bothers. Yeah.
No, he has said about any broken bones. No, I don't have any broken bones. But he said that he's met plenty of white people, and the only thing they have to be proud of is being white, because they have nothing else going for them. I'm like looking at you.
Oh yeah,
is he Schrodinger's Jews, where he's Jewish when it's convenient but white when it's convenient, or is he just a complete
no? To be fair, he's happy to just like be like known as being Jewish. He's constantly making Jew jokes against himself. To be fair, he makes jokes against himself all the time as well, but. No, it's very clear that he like insults white people. I've seen that clip as well now that you mention it, Spoon.
Yeah.
But he goes out of his way to suck off black people constantly.
Yeah.
It's like that clip from when Ben Stiller was on Zoom and he was like, as an American Jewish guy, the thing I've always wanted was to be a cool black guy. It's like, why is this so like the norm for you guys? It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud to be who I am. I'm proud to be what I am. Like, that just seems so strange. Yeah, I want to live. I don't want to live in mud huts somewhere.
No. I would like to suck up to you so that you can be our essentially cannon fodder for what the hell we would like to do to the rest of civilization. That's basically his gimmick. And I will say that loud because that's just basically what he's offering, so fuck him. Anyway,
yeah. Should we watch some of this video now?
Yes. Let me. If you don't mind,
I think we've broken enough TOS.
Right. Let me get to the other super chats that came in, and then we'll head into it if that's all right. Let's see. Maria Trillo for 10 says, I've been doing mace and club with some barbell and kettlebell for the last year. Have stayed within the same 10 pounds, not lost so much fat, I've lost so much fat, including my double chin. TRT is for lazy bastards.
Nice.
And Deadpool
Yeah,
Kid.
same.
Deadpool
I'm not going to share it with. I'm not going to share it publicly, but like, Spoon and the other guys in the chat have seen the progress pictures that I've posted from like last October when I was the fattest that I've ever been to right now where I've lost a load of weight, and it really is just willpower. No, thank you. I lost about 50 pounds so far this year.
Wow.
Jesus.
Damn.
Okay, that's a bad chunk of fat. Fair play to you.
Yeah, I've got abs again now, so I'm pretty happy.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah, hell yeah. Deadpool Kid for 10 says, I try to be consistent in my lifts. I can't be naturally. I was always big in bulk. I am Chungus, but I always at least pursue the strength over physique, but I try to maintain my weight. And for another two, he says, don't be a gym...
man.
Yeah. Don't be a gem cell manlet. Embrace the dwarf pill.
That's what Israel's trying to do. He's trying to be Gimli. Yeah, except he doesn't have the physique for it. Like he just has really shit genetics. He's also really fat. He said at one point he ballooned up to like 260 pounds at 5'5".
Jesus.
That's the reason you have trouble shedding fat, is because you are
obese,
a fat ass. Yes.
Demro2869 for £2 says, at least it didn't fall on your foot. Oh god, oh my god. Oh, that gives me...
Yeah, I'd rather take it in the head, to be honest. That's gonna get taken.
Your head's a little bit strong. Now it will. Sean Kennedy for two euros says, have you seen the debate/interview with Dr. Mike?
Which one? There's been shitloads.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's quite vague.
What you're referring to specifically?
Are you talking about the? He shows up on loads of shows, but the only debate that I can remember that he did was the one with Greg Doucette, where Greg completely owned him by just calling him a sophist, basically.
Yeah, because it's true. It's absolutely fucking true. But anyway, let's see what Mr. Solomon has to say, because God, it was a great video.
There are people who let their work speak for them. And then there are people who shout so loudly about how brilliant they are, you start to wonder what they're trying to drown out.
You've never met anyone with as much willpower as me. And whatever it is you think you're good at in your life, I'd probably take about a year and become an authority in the field in which you think you're good. I'm both on a raw scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach.
160 plus IQ, remember?
Wow, yeah. Is that what he claims?
Yes,
that's
he
what
claims
he
it's higher.
Claims he has a what?
Yeah,
there's a series, there's a compilation of clips that Solomon does at the end of this where that's included, where I think he's on Chris Williamson's podcast, and he claims that he did some kind of standardized IQ test, and he got literally every question right, which meant that it went to the limit of 160, but they don't actually standardize for IQs higher than that, so it's actually above that.
Everything about that statement is wrong. Everything about that statement is wrong.
Yeah, it's just
like this is evolutionary group behavioral tactics right here.
Yeah, really.
Somebody asked me what's my bench. I don't bench. If I'm gonna do a chest exercise, I'll do dips.
And Mario
I was doing dips
says,
today. Dips are magic.
Yeah, I like doing. I prefer to do them on the Olympic rings because, or if I can get any kind of railings and then go to the corner, so the bars are at a 45-degree angle. And or if I really feel up to it, then I'll do a muscle up and then do it on a straight bar. But that's not as comfortable. But yeah, so I don't do as heavy as I used to.
On the subject of bench, like the one bad thing about losing a load of weight, like the bench numbers, any push movements that just the numbers just die. Like at the beginning of the year, I was benching 230, 235 pounds for 5. And
Damn.
now I'm doing a 5x5 to try and get my strength back up. Because if I can get to where I was strength-wise, but at such a leaner frame, I mean, that's really good. That'll be like great muscle gains, right? Or at least like a nerve development to be able to, get everything in line. But it's gone down from about 105, 107 kilograms to 85 on the 5x5. Now that's 5 sets of 5 reps of 85 kilograms. And I've done that the other day, so I'm going to bump it up to 87.5 kg. But it is still like, there's that pain of going like, I could lift so much better than this earlier this year, but I look a lot better. I feel a lot better. I can now run a 23-minute 5K, which I would have died if I'd done that at the beginning of the year. So there's positives and negatives.
Damn. Fair play to you. I would say the heaviest that I've done for like a chest workout is I would take, bear in mind, I was about 72 kilograms because that's the most I've ever weighed. Again, my diet is completely fucking insane. Stop fighting on Twitter. No, fuck him. He's an absolute retard. I would take a set of flies. I think for like maybe 8 reps with 22 kilograms, which it's like a third of my weight. So that's fairly heavy set of flies. And then I would hop on a superset on the Olympic rings, and I would dip 3 reps with 45 kgs on me, which is a fair amount of weight, actually. Yeah, I would
That's
do 40.
insane. The most I've ever
Yeah.
gone up to on weights is with 25 kg on the belt. So 45, including body weight. That's insane.
Yeah. And I think my record for a chin-up is with 60 kilograms on me. That's my
3
one rep
plates.
max. Yes. That was my one rep max.
Damn.
Yeah, my one rep max was 60 kilograms. Yeah, 60 kilograms, and I weighed 72, so it was almost twice my body weight. I was quite strong when I was doing that kind of shit. And I would... the gym wasn't the bodybuilding gym. This was like the previous gym, so I would max out the machine for like 3 reps on tricep press down, and I would do the whole lat machine, whole stack, for like 2 reps, chin-ups, on the hand grip. So... probably would explain my back. So yeah,
Must have a good back.
Yeah, that's my strongest body part. That and my triceps. I took great care of my triceps because for some bizarre reason that was the body part that really did well with me was triceps and back.
But you've got to love training triceps though. They just feel so good to train.
Yeah, I do. I did realize. I did drop a fair amount of weight on my, maybe like 5 or 6 kilos on my tricep press down, because I realized about 3 reps in, I'm not keeping my elbows to my side as much, and they're flaring out slightly. And so when I was pressing them, I can feel my delts are slightly starting to kick in and take over, and so I can feel the tension on my triceps is slightly lessening, and I don't like that feeling. And so I just went like, no, I want to knock it down to like 24 kilos. This is like on the pulley, so this is like straight weight. And then I started doing it like that, and then holy shit, like massively shot up. I went from like 8 reps to 12. So I'm like, okay, this is clearly what I should be doing, is just to drop it and keep way more tension. How did I get that strong?
Nice.
I trained to failure, and form was absolutely meticulous. And this is something that I did that other people not do, is most people do like a 4-second lowering of the weight and then they will explode. So it's like a 4-to-1 ratio. I would not do that. I would do like a 6-second per rep. So it's like 3. So like 1, 2, 3. If there's no tension at the contraction at the bottom, then immediately just go like 1, 2, 3, and just basically keep it in like a 6-second cadence per rep. Don't slow down. Do 10 reps of that.
Yeah, if you just
that's brutal. Like 6 or 7 reps
screw all these like science-based guys. Like almost everything that you need to know about lifting, you can learn from listening to Mike Mensa.
Yeah.
And so if you just go for pure intensity, on these lifts and you stay consistent with the intensity, then you're going to be golden.
I would but people say humble bragging. Like I have like 4 years of all my training logs, and one thing I would say that I also learned from Mike was frequency does not matter as much, especially if your body's knackered. Because training like 5 back exercises to failure is fucking brutal on your body. And you need to rest. You need to sleep meticulously well. Because, swear to God, I remember, Harry, there was one point I came back from the gym and my body went, sleep now. Like, I could, I don't know, I could just, okay. And I went to bed and I woke up and I went like, wow, it's quite an unusual hour. And it was like 8 hours later and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay.
Oh man, I'm a dad. Like I could never get away with that shit.
Yeah, and that's what made me realize, oh, okay, this is like what training to failure actually fucking does to you. And I ate something and I went right back to bed and I slept for like another, I think, 7 hours. I basically slept 16 hours and I realized, oh, this is what training to failure does to you. Is that if your body says sleep now, fucking do it, because dude, there was one point where that was a requirement, and I realized if you are training to failure, I mean the claim that sleep is like steroids is absolute horseshit. But my God, sleep is absolutely fucking necessary. If you can, because I remember Dorian said that when he came back from training,
sleep's great.
2 hours nap every time was religious. What he would do, and if you can train like that and you can sleep an extra 8 hours a week, dude, that's gonna fucking add some.
Could you imagine being paid to do that? You just train 4 days a week. You can have massive 2-hour naps in the middle of the day. You're as big as a tank walking through the streets of Birmingham, scaring the hoes. Oh, God. And you get paid for it. Beautiful.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And then you show up in LA. Nobody's seen you for an entire year. And you just mog them, get paid like tens of thousands of dollars, and leave and do it all again.
That's just such a fucking Chad way. And then earn the nickname The Shadow. Absolutely fucking based. I remember watching one of his videos, and he said all of those guys are in LA in their Corvettes and Porsches in the sun, and I'm over here in the snow, and they're gonna fucking pay for that. I was like, oh, fucking based. Absolutely, like just Chad Workman's like attitude of like, no, I will show up, kick your asses, say nothing, and leave. Like.
They didn't realize what an insane motivator simply being in Birmingham was for this man.
I remember listening to his stories. I'm like, I just find it so inspiring because everyone else is like in latex and like oiled and all this shit. And Doran's like, no, I don't have time for any of that shit. Just record me. And there's fucking like Night Train from Guns N' Roses blasting in the background. And he's like pushing 1,200 pounds on a leg press. Like, absolutely fucking Chad move. Just. That is,
and he's like incline benching 3 plates aside for reps, for like easy reps as a warm up.
Yeah, I remember watching when he was doing rows, and people were thinking that's his deadlifting, and like, what the hell? That's your deadlift? That's nothing. Oh no, he's rowing that, and it's like fucking 5 plates each side. I mean, he's rowing it like it's fuck all. Oh my God, damn, that's insane. It's like, what's his row? It's like 400 pounds. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, here's something else then, relating it back to Mike. We talk about all this stuff where Mike Mentzer had an insane physique, really good workout advice for most people. Dorian Yates, obviously one of the greatest to ever do it, really intense work ethic and workouts that he would do, totally dedicated to the craft, right? Yeah. Well, what does Mike Israetel do? One of the big things that he does is, because he earned his doctorate and he's got the doctor in front of his name, he does his exercise scientist critiques blah-de-blah. Exercise scientist critiques Dorian Yates. Exercise scientist critiques Mike Mentzer's outdated lifting advice. Outdated lifting advice, like training hard and taking the proper rest between workouts, is ever going to be outdated just because some study that one person did that hasn't been replicated came out 3 weeks ago that says, oh, you can do super high volume, because that was one of the other trends that they did a few years ago. Nippard fell into it, Israetel fell into it, where it's like super high volume. You can do 52 sets per week for maximum optimal growth. You are going to kill yourself doing something like that. And furthermore, do you remember when there was that infamous interview now where he was talking to somebody about Ronnie Coleman, another one of the greatest to ever do it, right? And he was saying, Ronnie Coleman, he was great and he was one of the best to ever do it. But this is when Mike was all about full range of motion, because before it was length and partials, it was all about full range of motion, because a couple of studies had come out saying full range of motion is really good for growth. And it's like, no shit, again, Mike Mentzer could have told you that in 1975, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Mike Israetel just goes like, Ronnie was great, but if he'd just gone a little bit deeper in his squats, like really got ass to grass, even just a little bit deeper, who knows how big he could have been.
Jesus.
And it's like, who
have
the
you
fuck
seen
are
Ronnie?
you
Yeah.
to tell the most
2003?
accomplished body. Yeah, the dude was insane. Who are you to tell the most accomplished bodybuilder of all time how he could have got bigger? You haven't even placed in the top 3 in the ones where you've been going for your IFBBs, Mike. I think the most recent one that he did, where he blamed it on not having a good tan, was he placed like 5th or 6th, right? Because he's constantly been trying to go for his pro card, and he can't do it. And he has the gall to say like, oh, I got this doctorate. I got this worthless doctorate for a PhD, which is absolute bullshit. And I'm going to be able to be the one to tell Mike Mentzer that his workout advice is outdated, that Dorian Yates could have trained more often than 4 times per week to get better results, and that Ronnie should have just gone a little bit deeper so that he could have got those extra last bits of gains that would have pushed him over the edge from already being the best to ever do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would love to see Dorian train him. Dorian would fucking make him puke. He would no fucking way in hell be able to handle a leg day with Dorian. Dorian would fucking murder him.
Well, that was the huge thing about his argument he had with Lyle McDonald, who Lyle McDonald, another legend, he's great, where Lyle was saying that Mike doesn't know how to train to failure. And Mike said, I do know how to train to failure. Look, watch me do it right now. And he just doesn't go to failure. He just screams while he's doing reps, which look the exact same. Like rep 1, when he
we
starts,
showed it yesterday.
Rep 10, when he ends.
Like on the leg press, and he's screaming.
Yeah.
And he's screaming like
so
a fucking
amazing.
maniac. Because I said to the people, to Aiden and Bill, if you train to failure, first of all, the way that he was smacking that, it means either it's too light, which is why he's clanking then, or it's too heavy and he's trying to scream his way to get it to the bottom. Either way, it's an lunk alarm fetish to basically try and... Cause I just look at that, there's no fucking way in hell you wouldn't watch that and immediately think it isn't a skit. Because no one in a fucking gym trains like that ever.
Well, it's
fucking retarded.
Effort.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I can understand
and his
making
legs
some
are
noise,
big.
but yeah.
Watching Dorian
but
train
Lyle
legs
McDonald,
is quality.
Well, Lyle McDonald, I think, showed what failure looks like in a video response to Israetel, where he was like, okay, here's what it looks like taking, say, like a chest press to failure, because it's really safe to take chest press to failure. You're not going to hurt yourself or injure yourself. You can't drop a bar on yourself, so here you go. And, those last few reps, he's straining the whole way. The last rep takes like 8 or 10 seconds to get through. And then he's like, okay, and then he goes for the last rep and he can't make it. He can't get even to halfway locking out his arms. That's what failure looks like. And he's not screaming his ass off. He's not going while he's doing it. He's just putting the fucking effort in. And Mike has never let that go. Mike is so butthurt about that, even to this day, where he'll still reference that in videos. I remember last year, before I knew any of the drama that had gone down, I was watching a video where Mike was training with Jared Feather, one of the other RP guys. They're doing a leg... That was it. They were doing a hack squat. And Mike just gets off. He's clearly not gone anywhere near failure at that point because the reps haven't slowed down at all. He finishes the hack squat, walks over to a bin, pretends or actually vomits in the bin in the middle of the gym because he's like, oh, I just put so much effort in, I vomited. Like, I vomited once after doing squats when a PT took me past failure on squats as a part of a warm-up session for him before I even started paying him. He's like, here's what you can expect from training with me, and he made me vomit on 3 sets of squats, taking me past failure on it. I know what it looks like. Take squats to a point where you vomit. He was nowhere near. So either he had a stomach bug or he just faked it. And then he looks into the camera and he's like, oh yeah, when you're advanced like we are, it's not necessarily that the reps will slow down. You just know that you won't be able to make the next one. So you bail on the lift before you go too far. So fuck you, Lyle McDonald. And he just says that straight to the camera. And even without knowing anything, I was like, dude, that's really weird. That's a strange thing to just throw out in a video without any context.
Yeah. And you could just tell that if I just look at the way he's trained and just like the state of his physique, he has never trained to failure with heavy ass weights in his entire fucking life. He's got a shit physique. There's no graininess to him at all. Also, he can't diet at fucking all. Like, none. Which is really, really fucking hilarious for him to give diet advice to fucking anyone. By the way, Dorian training legs is really funny because it's like 2 reps to go. And he just like does that like really loud yelp. And then he does the one last one, yeah.
My favorite is always going to be Tom Platz on like lying leg curls, screaming, kill me!
Shit.
I just want to die, kill me! Tom, stop! You don't have to do this.
Yeah, I was there watching. I think it was one. I can't remember what machine it was, but he got other people to like push it on him as well. And his last reps looks like he's like shagging the machine, which is funny as shit to watch, by the way, because he actually did favor the intensity, but the way he does intensity is just, my good God, it's fucking funny.
Oh yeah. I mean, Tom Platz had insane legs, like past the point of anything aesthetic, I would say. You know, Tom Platz looked like he legitimately had tumorous growths on his legs, but you know, that's what he was going for. He had the biggest legs ever, so you know, fair play to the guy. I just go for way more aesthetic than something like that.
No, I mean, Dorian Yates said, I think with when he was training with, or not training, when he was interviewed with Rogan, he said that I think it's still safe to say that no one has surpassed Tom Platz's leg development to this day. And I agree. Like, if you just look at Tom Platz's legs, it's like, what the fuck? It's goddamn.
We are being asked to actually play the video. I'm only as I'm just watching the chat since I have nothing to contribute into this section.
Oh, I will say one thing.
We should
which I'm fine
go back to Galaxy Brain, Mike.
Yeah. Oh, well, no,
right.
I'll say one thing to Harry, because Harry asked me this. Where did I heard about Mike Mentor in the calisthenics book? It was a book called CMAS by Paul Wade, the guy who did Convict Conviction. Or Convict Conditioning,
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. But the bit that he wrote in the book was that Mike said that stimulus is triggered by a massive amount of effort. So he said the analogy that he uses, if you hit a dynamite with a pencil, you can hit it 1,000 times, it'll never go off. But if you hit it once with a sledgehammer, that's all you need to do, stop. Which is a really good analogy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
that makes sense.
Yes.
Anyway, we've been broing out enough. We've been doing the gym bro
it is fun
stuff. So let's give Aiden a chance to contribute.
No, I'm just gonna read some super chats and then we can put the video back on.
Okay.
So Maria Trailer for 5 says, also I have multiple rods and fused vertebrae. People saying working on this hard can get aft. Try PT physical therapy. Yeah, from having tethered spine surgery. Jeez. Oh shit. Yeah. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Arstown for 5 says, I'm 444 pounds and I never plan on taking TRT or Ozempic. I'm responsible for getting myself into this situation. It's by my own actions I'll get out. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Good man, that's an honourable mindset. I think that's honourable. You don't take the shortcuts and you take accountability for it. So fair play and respect to you for that.
Deprecate for 5 says, my pull-ups will never be the lifesaver, being 315 pounds, but I finally managed to pull my max in 600 pounds deadlifts for 8 reps.
Damn.
8 reps, nice. Yeah, that's good.
That's fair play to you. Jesus.
Yeah.
Ganji Blob, Ganji Blob Flankus for 5 pounds says, PhD in health fields that go by doctor know what they are doing. A BS PhD is hardly shocking. That he fake trains to failure and drugs is expected.
Yeah, that's actually true. It's funny to watch though. It's like this tiny, like little goblin physique, and he's like blasting 4 sets of anabolics.
I mean, it would be one thing if he was just like admitting that it was purely scientific and he didn't have any personal interest in it and he was just studying it. But yeah, excuse me.
I mean, he says it's for bodybuilding.
Two says, yeah,
Dude's got body issues, man.
Yeah, clearly.
It appears to be. Scrubby Rum for 2 says, I train my horse ears to failure. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you. Rap Bartholomew Cheesington for 5 says, just hit legs for the first time, already have better control than Mike. Mayhaps that should be concerning for Mike, but I doubt he would listen.
Yeah, true.
Good, man. It's always good to train legs, even though we don't want to.
Yeah.
Or shall we get back into it then?
There we go, yeah.
Body responses, etc.
Absolutely.
You are presuming you know more than me about the thing I'm one of the top experts in the world in, and also the thing I'm literally involved in myself. So whatever ideas you have about how I can improve, just right off. There's a very high probability that I'm much better at making fun of people than you are.
So naturally, when I got my hands on Mike Israetel's PhD thesis, I expected a masterwork, an intellectual tour de force. Instead,
I am a perfectionist asshole with a PhD. Yeah, hell yeah, that's why I say shit like that.
Dr. Mike, geez, that's a big deal. And I've noticed that carries a lot of weight. Like all I feel is rage and frustration.
what I got was a document so sloppy, shallow, and confused, it could only pass in a system that had already failed.
So should we mention?
Go on.
You first, Moon.
No, I just want to say I just love the classical music in the background. It just makes it that much more condescending and funny.
Oh, it's beautiful. But should we mention that Mike has already tried to claim that this was a mistakenly uploaded rough draft?
Yeah.
And then already pulled back on that lie and said that okay, this PhD that Solomon managed to get his hands on was the final draft that was sent in and graded by the university as part of the PhD program. He knew it was that bad that he tried to lie, realized that the lie that he had tried to spin was so bad and unbelievable, it was never going to stand up. So he's already pulled back on it, and people are still trying to, like, Mike's sycophants are still trying to defend him.
Well, from my understanding,
Milo,
with that, the one he's claiming that is the accurate one, it actually has an older save date. Was that it? None of this makes any sense.
The one that he was claiming was the actual one that was graded. Well, he's already pulled back on this, but he started trying to claim that he was that the one that had been graded and got him his doctorate was one that had been dated as March 2013, whereas the version that Solomon got hold of here is very clearly labeled as August 2013. So that was only one of many inconsistencies with the stories. One of the smoking guns, though, was that Milo Wolf, who is another science, quote-unquote, science-based YouTube fitness guy, who is, Mike's lapdog, because Mike didn't address this in a YouTube response himself. He got his lapdog, Milo Wolf, to do it for him. And in that, where they say, oh, this is the actual document that was submitted to the university, we don't know how this one that Solomon got his hands on was the one that was uploaded on the university database. Well, it's because it was the final one. Either way, in it, there was a screenshot that people took of a freeze frame from that video because they'd accidentally included in the video, Milo Wolf's response video, a little shot where you can see for a brief moment, it must be a Google Doc or something, a little comment saying, would you like to make this change? Because it looks like they were updating the document to remove all of the mistakes and grammatical errors in it that was dated the 3rd of October, 2025. So
that is none of this makes any sense from a logistical or normative
No,
stance as to how
none.
academia works. First of all, now it's possible that the university could have uploaded the wrong document, but the one that he's supposedly saying is the real one again is dated to older or something to that effect.
It was dated wrong. It was also being hosted by an email address that isn't Mike's email address or Milo's email address. It was actually being hosted by their social media team.
Yeah.
Those guys. And again, then it also has the thing where there's already edits being made that you can see have been made at the beginning of this month, less than a week ago. So clearly what happened was they found a different version of it that they could try and claim was the actual version and tried to hastily edit it. So to remove all of the inconsistencies that Solomon had presented in this video.
And none of that makes any sense. Once the document's published, it's published. That is your formal PhD thesis. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible for the university to make a mistake and upload the wrong document. But what the university has done since, that is quite important, is because when I first heard you guys talking about this, is I wanted to go read the thing because not apparently, from what I've seen, the maths in it are hilariously incorrect. And I really, really enjoy looking at bad maths. So I wanted to look at it, and they have locked it down, so now no one can download it.
The thing that I just found very bizarre is Wolf's claim was the dissertation that Solomon got his hands on is like a first draft. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's just assume that's true, just for the sake of argument. Then it has nothing to do with even Mike, or Solomon for that matter. The thing that you would now do is go to the university and say, why is this 12-year-old dissertation this version? And then all he has to do is just say, well, get the correct version, and then just do that. Now the problem is the university, not Mike. But the fact that he went on the defensive and said, no, this is not actually the right one, that originally makes you go, why the fucking hell? Because when he later on says, oh, actually, no, it was the correct one, that instantly makes you go, then why the fucking hell did you say it isn't the right one? If you just watched the fucking video from the bloody get-go, you would have said, oh, it's the right one. Now you look shady as shit trying to paste documents together and try to keep it
this
official.
Looks shady as shit.
Yeah, it makes you look shady as shit. And it throws university under the bus, and Mike threw Wolf under the fucking bus for defending him. Because he lied to both the university. He just looks shitty all around. Like, you're a moron. 160 IQ, my fucking ass.
Was this like,
how about this?
Southern something State University? They should be thrown under the bus for this. The fact that they
East Tennessee University.
East Tennessee, there we
that's
go.
it. That this passed their muster, and from my perspective, that is why they have removed it. Is because this is a terrible look for them to have standard deviations that would not just imply but necessitate that your sample had people who weighed less than a chihuahua in it.
Yeah,
that's not mathematically insane.
It's not just the maths and the logistics. I think one of the things that people have been ignoring that Solomon brings up here as well is the very thesis itself, where Mike is asking and testing the question, does having bigger muscles make you stronger? And does being leaner mean that you can jump higher? In both of these, Mike's conclusions discover the shocking news that yes, bigger muscles typically means that you're stronger, and being leaner, i.e. having less fat on your frame, means that you can jump higher. Was this worthy of a university spending money to support Mike while he conducted the thorough research needed for this information that a toddler could have told you in 1950?
To be fair, that is the vast majority of doctoral dissertations. They're not supposed to be, but they are. And this university, East Tennessee, is not in any way competitive academically university. So from institutions like that in particular, you are going to expect somewhat of maybe not premier quality stuff. However, this is not that it's not premier. It's that I don't even understand how you could make the mathematical errors that are in this. I don't understand. And again, the topic is so basic. Maybe that you could get away with. But if you're going to do something so simple, the math should be airtight. But they're not. They're ludicrous.
See,
Yeah, I
see what
suppose it all compounds on itself, doesn't it? The fact that it's such a simple premise means that, okay, like the conclusions are already going to be obvious. So you should have all the time in the world to focus on those minute details and get them perfect. And he still got them so wrong that it is an absolute catastrophe.
Yeah, it's comically wrong at that.
Yeah, it should be. There shouldn't be any errors, let alone these kinds of errors. But yeah, I'd probably get into the video. I'm sure like a lot of people have no idea.
Yeah, see, this...
A lot of people in the chat seem to do seem to be kept up on this to some degree, but...
Yeah, because the thing that I just don't understand is, this is why I said before that I think most of the scientific literature is more, you can see this in the culture, is more concerned with the drugs, because I don't think there has been any breakthrough when it comes to exercise science as far as training is concerned for like at least 35 years. Because nothing...
Yeah, I think to me this was just a confirmation of how worthless the entire field is, and
Yes,
how
agreed.
worthless being a doctor of exercise science in this capacity is, because you're not discovering anything new, you're not advancing a field of knowledge, you're confirming common sense rules of thumb, and universities should be spending money on better things than that, personally.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Unfortunately, what many universities do, though, is that they just want to get people through to a certain extent. And the only reason they would remove it is if it actually damages the reputation of the university. They probably have very much enjoyed that they had this guy, Dr. Mike. He's got doctor in his name. He got his PhD from this institution. That's probably been, up until this point, a boon to them enough to the point where, and from the looks of it, no one read this. There is no way that a human being read this dissertation, there's no way it's possible that they also went through defense and no one could have noticed this. The errors are that glaring. So methinks
there is a different level that
or something.
There is a different level that could be inferred here that I've already noticed one or two of the commenters in the live chat pointing out, which is the whole connection of the different people involved in this, which is that this is the PhD thesis of Mike Israetel, whose PhD supervisor was Dr. Mike Stone, and whose biggest defender and sycophant has been Dr. Milo Wolf. I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it all at that.
Yeah, I have no idea what you could have possibly been referencing or making an allusion to there.
6 million.
But let's carry on with the video.
Yeah, shall we? It's still the opening.
Yeah. Great stat.
It's beautiful.
Other JD students at Melbourne Law School use their database access to read case law. I used mine to download Mike Israetel's PhD thesis, which I read in its entirety. For those unfamiliar, Mike Israetel is a prominent figure in the fitness world. He's a competitive bodybuilder, a highly successful YouTuber, and the creator of the popular Exercise Scientist Critique series. Mike frequently highlights his status as a PhD holder across all his platforms, from his Instagram handle to dozens of YouTube videos.
Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike here for RP Strength.
His company website and advertised products. But what about the academic
just to highlight off the back of the Dr. Mike, do you want to pause it? Just very quickly. In that Milo Wolf response video, there's the clips of Milo Wolf and Dr. Mike, or Mr. Mike as he's known now, where he's talking about this stuff, and he's saying, I'm not a proud guy, I don't feel pride very much. I knew my PhD was only ever adequate. It was never meant to be anything more than that. It's not like I speak about my PhD all the time.
Yeah, right.
You say it at the beginning of every fucking video. Shut the fuck up.
There's Dr.
So
Mike,
scummy.
Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike. I mean, this, oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's pure credentialism.
Yeah.
In this video, we'll examine just that. I'll conduct a critical analysis of the doctoral research that forms the basis of Mike's credibility as an exercise scientist. In Chapter 2 of this video, I'll provide an overview of Mike's thesis. Chapter 3 will then outline the standard assessment criteria for PhD theses. Building on this, Chapter 4 presents my core argument that by these standard academic criteria, Mike's PhD thesis would likely fail or at the very least be sent back for major revisions at any high-ranking university. Chapter 5 outlines why this finding matters, and I conclude in Chapter 6 by tying the threads together. I'll show how Mike's PhD thesis, far from bolstering his credibility, actually destroys it.
Right back.
Gotta say, I like how
Mike
thorough he
Israetel's
is with this.
PhD thesis, titled The Interrelationships of Fitness Characteristics in Division 1 Athletes.
You were saying, Harry?
Oh, I just like how thorough Solomon is. He divides everything quite nicely. He's nice and objective. It's a strange level of analytic quality coming from something on the YouTube fitness space. This is quite unusual.
It is indeed.
Investigates how various fitness traits, including strength, rate of force development, power, vertical jump height, short distance sprinting speed, and body composition, relate to one another in Division 1 collegiate athletes. The overarching aim is to
fucking Vine
explore
boobs.
the extent to which athletic performance can be understood as the summation of these interrelated physical attributes. 80 NCAA Division 1 athletes from 4 sports, baseball, women's volleyball, men's soccer, and women's soccer, participated in a longitudinal athlete monitoring program at East Tennessee State University. They underwent assessments of maximal strength, rate of force development, power output, vertical jump height, short distance sprinting speed, and body composition. Statistical analyses examined correlations among these measures, as well as differences between high and low performing subgroups. The results demonstrated that 1. Strength strongly correlates with muscularity.
No shit.
Wow.
Athletes with higher relative force and power output demonstrate superior jumping and sprinting ability.
Fascinating.
And 3. Leaner athletes outperform less lean athletes in nearly all metrics, especially
Unbelievable.
relative strength, power, vertical jumping, and sprinting.
Well, my world has just been turned upside down. How
Taxpayer
about you
money
guys?
well spent.
To be fair,
Perhaps
my
unsurprising.
PhD was in video games, so like I can't talk any shit.
Yeah, but you see, with video games, there's
Yeah,
at
but-
least most people don't know about that kind of shit. Whereas with strength gains like that is kind of fucking really obvious.
Yeah, again, like I could ask my toddler, who's stronger, and show her a picture
Yeah.
of a muscly man and a skinny man, and she'll point at the muscly man
Yes.
because it's obvious.
It's heuristic, yes.
Was there nothing better that he could have studied? Was this really the cutting edge of fitness science in
He
2013?
was pushing that 160 IQ. Yeah, I mean, they was pushing the limits.
Yeah, you know, people have been doing scientific studies in fitness since like the 70s at least, because I know Mensa was referring by that back then to a couple of studies to justify some of the stuff that he was doing. So like, had nobody refined the data up until 2013, 40 years later, to conclude that bigger muscles equal bigger strong?
You could really put it in like
No one else could have figured it out.
jargon
Yeah, no.
basically as well. Big muscle equal more strong. Yeah,
Yes,
essentially.
indeed.
These results largely aligned with conventional sports science assumptions that leaner, stronger, and more muscular athletes tend to perform better in key physical domains. In his conclusion, Mike summarizes his findings, which basically just reinforce existing wisdom about athletic performance. Mike suggests how future research could explore how fitness priorities might vary across skill levels, but offers little in the way of specific methodological approaches or clearly defined unanswered questions. In short, Mike's thesis consolidates the widely held view in sports science that it's a good idea for aspiring athletes to become leaner, stronger, and more muscular.
My God, what a revelation.
My brain exploded.
Before we critically examine Mike's thesis, we need objective criteria to assess it by. Although the core expectations and assessment criteria for a PhD thesis are remarkably consistent globally, my alma mater Melbourne University can serve as a guide. To be awarded a pass, a doctoral thesis must A. Demonstrate authority in the candidate's field and show evidence of command of knowledge in relevant fields. So you have to inspire trust in the reader. The reader should get the impression that you're a reliable investigator in the field. You're an equal among peers who have also advanced it. B. Demonstrate a thorough grasp of the methodological techniques appropriate to the research question and an awareness of their limitations. So it's not enough just to choose a methodology. You have to persuade the reader that you chose it for a good reason. C. Make a contribution to knowledge that rests on originality of approach
that's the big one.
or interpretation of the findings, and in some cases, the discovery of new facts. So you have to offer a genuinely new contribution that meaningfully advances your field. You can't just replicate or tweak past work. D. Demonstrate the candidate's ability to communicate research findings effectively. So you can't bury your findings in jargon or submit something that reads like an unedited draft. Your thesis has to be clearly
The
written,
irony.
professionally presented,
Yeah.
and free from basic mistakes, whether in language, formatting, or data handling. E. Demonstrate an understanding of and commitment to research ethics and integrity. So all that really just means is that you have to conduct your research responsibly, and that means just being transparent, getting explicit consent from any participants, etc.
Seems that there's some
And
post
F,
facto ethics
be a
issues.
careful, rigorous, and sustained piece of work, demonstrating that a research apprenticeship is complete and the holder may be admitted to the community of scholars in the discipline. You can't just stitch together a few chapters and call it a thesis. The whole thing needs to be coherent, meticulously edited, internally consistent, and attentive to detail, which includes, of course, how your data are
This is supposed to take
presented,
2 to 3 years. Yeah.
interpreted, and integrated
Really?
across chapters.
Yes. To finish a thesis, it's supposed to take at least a year. Yes.
In this chapter, I'll
It's
argue
supposed to be a
that
You're-
huge
you-
project. Like
Yes. You're,
like,
you,
like
no,
some
your last year
people
of
who've
doc
had
school.
very, very.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh, your last year of doc school, you don't take classes anymore. You might teach some, but in most doc programs, you don't take any classes by that point. At least 1 year, sometimes 2, depending on the doctoral program. You spend 1 to 2 years teaching to get paid, essentially. So you're doing work for the university. And other than that, just working on the thesis. It's supposed to be 1 to 2 years of dedicated work just to that.
It's all you're doing. Like some people who've done philosophy PhDs, for instance, like if it's good enough, they will publish their philosophical PhD thesis as its own book.
Damn,
Because
okay.
Yeah, it's
that's
intended to-
basically what you're
Yeah.
working towards. It's supposed to be something that's fit to be published for public consumption because it's advancing knowledge in the field or it's presenting
Yes.
novel ideas, and it's at a high enough quality that the people can read and understand it themselves.
Now, you can self-publish, which doesn't go anywhere. What most people do if they choose to publish their doctoral thesis is to basically they get paid. You get paid something like $3,000 to $5,000 depending on it. You sell your thesis, and most doctoral graduates do this. So yeah, it is intended actually not just for your advisors to read it, but for the public to read it. And the fact that he hasn't published it with a third-party publisher and instead has kept it on only available apparently through the university is in and of itself very telling, because despite being a grifter in apparently every other area, he didn't think to sell his thesis for publication. That's
well,
very
I mean,
unusual.
I can't blame him seeing what's there.
Yeah, again, very telling, because most people would do that, particularly if they're not pursuing further teaching and working in academia. They would go and sell the thesis because they make money off of it. And again, he literally sells Dr. Mike. That's his brand. Why are you not selling your thesis as a book? Everyone
I
else
wonder
does.
why. Shocker.
According to standard assessment criteria, Mike's thesis would have failed, or at the very least been sent back for major revisions at any high-ranking university. Mike's thesis falls short of fulfilling one of the most fundamental requirements for
That's totally not a pun. Not at all.
doctoral research, a significant contribution
Lamau.
of original knowledge. The stated goal of Mike's thesis was to explore interrelationships among fitness variables that he claimed were less clear in the existing literature. However, the core findings, that stronger athletes are more muscular and powerful, that more powerful athletes jump higher and sprint faster, and that leaner athletes perform better in these tasks, are not only unsurprising, but also extensively documented in prior research, even by 2013. You don't have to take
In
it
fact,
from
you
me.
don't.
Just
Paul,
listen to
Paul,
Mike
you don't
himself.
need. You don't need research from that. There's this whole thing, like sports science is kind of adjacent
Yeah.
to this thing called sports, which is a competition, which already has proven all of those findings over and over and over again. So it seems like sports science is this kind of leech that's attached itself to the body of actual physical sports and is conducted by people who aren't good enough to compete in those sports themselves.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. Bizarre, yeah.
Yeah.
Who openly concedes this throughout the document. For instance, in Chapter 3, Mike explicitly notes that the finding that stronger athletes produce higher rates of force development has been previously well supported in the literature, and that the finding of higher power generating abilities being associated with stronger athletes is well supported by previous data. On the following page, he acknowledges that stronger athletes, especially relative to their body mass, tend to jump higher and sprint faster, and that his findings merely show trends in this direction. He repeats this theme in Chapter 4, when he affirms that his results concord with much of the other research on the relationships between power, body composition, and athletic performance. By Chapter 5, the pattern is unmistakable. The abstract reiterates that athletes with higher lean body mass and lower body fat are stronger, more powerful, and faster, reinforcing the importance of body composition, a point that has been reinforced in many previous publications. Pages 97.
And you can just see through observation.
Yeah, I mean,
Fucking
like, you
hell.
can't even stop smiling. Because obviously, it's just...
It's bollocks.
I
mean,
understand.
it's in the
I am
fucking
actually...
abstract. It's in the abstract.
I know. I'm actually a very big proponent of reconducting research and you know, going back over things that we think that we know in psychology. In biology, it's a little bit fucking dumb.
Well, here's something fun, because what you're talking about there, Aiden, is correct me if I'm wrong, replication.
Yes,
This
the
whole
replication
thing of
crisis.
replicating a study. Well, I believe that with sports science in particular, this might be scientific studies in general, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I've heard the figure only 28% of these studies that are conducted can actually be replicated. Like,
Yeah, it depends on the
especially-
field. But
well,
generally
I think
speaking,
it must be like sports science in that case is the one that I've heard it referred to. Only 28% of the studies, only a quarter of them can actually be replicated in any meaningful way when people attempt to replicate them. That means that at least about 3/4 of all sports science studies are functionally, theoretically worthless. That's what it sounds like to me.
it's most fields. Basically, the harder into maths and science you get, the higher the likelihood of replicability, essentially. But it really, this should be. I'm surprised that it's that low, honestly, because this should be a highly replicable field because you're dealing with physiological science that doesn't change for the most part. You have individual differences, but you account for that statistically, so it doesn't really matter. Very bizarre if it's that low, because that puts it amongst the lowest that I've ever seen. If it's only a third, or less than a third.
whenever I've ever seen people actually breaking down most of these studies that they do and the surveys and the methodology, there's no kind of standardization from study to study on who they're testing, how they get control groups, how they actually measure their findings in any meaningful way. It seems to be a lot of guys. It seems to be a load of guys throwing shit at the wall, and they also don't control for variables like training experience. A lot of the guys they get to be the participants in these studies haven't lifted enough to be past the newbie beginner phase. And when everybody knows when you lift that if you are a newbie, you get newbie gains, meaning that anything and everything that you do will spur on some kind of significant muscle growth, which means that loads of these different studies, whether they're training something that contradicts other studies, will find similar results to those studies that it's supposedly contradicting. But like you can say that, use full range of motion to get better gains, and then there'll be another study that comes out that knows no use lengthened partials to get better gains, and all of the results are constantly conflicting and confused with one another because they don't control for any of these variables.
The thing is that you can very easily control for all of this stuff, statistically speaking. But what that's telling me is that there's not being rigorous mathematical standards that are being applied to this particular field of science, which does not surprise me.
Are we shocked looking at this thesis?
Yeah. For a while in my field, my advisor actually was trying to introduce a new caucus for sports communication, which I couldn't really understand the benefit of that or what the point was, and neither could anyone else, only in that it's group communication or in-group psychology, group psychology stuff. Like sports fans is what he was talking about, and he wanted to establish a whole new caucus for it. And I also found, though, when I was, because he was my advisor, is that a lot of the things that were being submitted to that were just very uninteresting, boring sort of replication type stuff. And I don't know why it is, but I suppose when you get into these sort of niches in science, the standards just fall off a cliff. Because there's only so many people studying it.
We've got somebody in the chat here called Jim Healis.
Yes.
And he says in this field so I'm assuming he's in this field. He says we have a big problem getting experienced people don't want to participate in studies because they don't want to stop their program. And he says Aidan, the big reason for this low replication number is the lax methodology. So yeah, it sounds like it is all coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does definitely sound like a major methodological issue.
Also,
and just lack of scientific rigor.
I also think, just from a personal perspective, if I ever see anyone talk about training and say certain things like, well, they put a group of people, like, even if you went more than 3 people and you said you train them to like 3 reps to failure in reserve, I can guarantee you at least 75% of those fucking people in that study group did not come remotely to touching 3 reps to failure. Because they would have trained to failure to know what the fuck their 3 rep away from failure would even looks like. And from, I would say, like over 90% of people, they have no idea what that looks like. So if you're going to choose something that specific as far as a study group, to control for that is basically impossible past an individual. And Harry can attest to that.
At that point, if you're talking about, these are exceptional sort of people, at that point you're talking about doing just an individual study of this person. But you can do it en masse, and there are statistical weights that you can add to all of this. And they definitely exist, which is the crazy part. All of this, my only point is that you can do all of this correctly, mathematically. It doesn't appear to be a concern here for this guy, though. And before we get back into it, real quick, Tim France for 10 says, greatest Broken Crown ever. As someone who's lost 70 pounds over the last few years after nearly losing a hand and a serious back injury, it's great to hear such passionate discussions about fitness. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Koromaru Nissan.
Congrats on the weight loss.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Koromaru Nissan's for 10 says, I'm conflicted about this whole thing. The academic critique seems to be valid, but at the same time, it was Dr. Mike's information. They got me to bench 315 and deadlift 405. But I think... Actually, I don't remember if it was Harry or Spoon who said this earlier, is that like 75% of his advice is
common
good
sense.
And common sense stuff. That is good and useful and valuable if you've not heard it before. So just if you've gotten something personally out of it, I don't think that in any way diminishes, obviously, your accomplishments or anybody's. It's just that this guy's thesis is a fraud.
Yeah. I personally go up to people and go,
Yeah,
"Is your
no,
name
no, of
Mike
course not.
Mensa?
It was me
Is your
that
name
said
Dorian
that.
Yates? No, then I don't care about your information." Those are the only two people that I will listen to, and sometimes Tom Platz. That's basically.
It's true.
Now-
He's done it to me.
There you go. To be
Yeah,
fair, we had a discussion about volume.
yeah,
and
I said it earlier
intensity.
that probably.
It's a good discussion.
Yeah,
though.
I've backtracked on some of that stuff at this point myself anyway, because I'm doing way less volume and way more intensity
Well
than
done.
I was before, and I've got good results
Good
from it.
man.
Either,
Well done.
either way, I said earlier, yeah, it's probably more than 75%. It's like 85%, if not 90% of the stuff that he talks about is mostly good advice. And that's because a lot of the stuff that he says is like common sense and is kind of settled by experience from people who've been coached and seen what works, and people who've, won competitions.
For
What works for
decades.
them typically can work well for some people. Yeah, and people know this stuff for decades. Typically with Mike, it's the novel or trend hopping stuff that is where some of the really bad takes come in.
Because
with
he's a
a lot of
YouTuber
what
first
he
and
says.
foremost,
Yeah.
and therefore he's
Yeah,
gonna.
he's a businessman.
Yeah,
and he's a
exactly.
very successful businessman.
Yeah. Not a credible one as far
Shall we
as
get back to
fitness
it?
goes.
7 through 19.
No, apparently not.
continue This line, noting that the observed correlations concord well with existing literature. In the final summary, Mike concludes that relative strength is a better predictor of performance than absolute strength, based both on the findings of previous literature and this investigation. Nearly every major result is explicitly framed as a confirmation of prior research, rather than a departure from it. To be clear, replication is a valuable part of scientific practice. Confirmatory studies can reinforce confidence in previous findings, especially when using diverse populations or refined measurement tools. But a PhD thesis isn't just a scientific study. It's a scholarly work held to a higher standard. It's supposed to demonstrate that the candidate can contribute new knowledge to his or her field, not just affirm what's already well accepted. By that criterion, Mike's dissertation doesn't qualify. Mike's thesis proposes no new theories, investigates no novel mechanisms nor methods, and makes no methodological innovations. It's a largely descriptive work that fails to advance the conceptual boundaries of sports science in any meaningful way. Another way Mike's thesis could be said to lack originality is its dearth of independence in thought and approach. While it is expected that a PhD candidate will ground his or her work in existing literature, Mike's thesis rarely moves beyond mere reiteration. As I'll detail later, the literature review in Mike's thesis is uncritical. It's just an inventory of past findings rather than an evaluative synthesis. And that kind of passive engagement with sources continues throughout the thesis. Mike's research questions are framed in terms of small, population-specific gaps, without articulating why these gaps matter or whether existing models should be expected to fail in the context of Division I athletes. Merely noting the absence of data isn't on its own a meaningful justification for research. A legitimate research gap demands a theoretical reason to believe that something unexpected, different, or revelatory might be found. Who
True.
knows, perhaps even something counter-expected to
You were saying?
No, it's true. I was just saying, yeah, like you need to expect something a little different. That's all. Just
borrow
pure
from
replication.
Mike's idiolect.
Just to add on the literature review thing as well. Mike basically tried to throw his PhD supervisor under the bus in the Wolf response video as well, because he says that, PhDs are way more collaborative. Yeah, PhDs are way more collaborative than people expect. You know, my supervisor, Dr. Mike Stone, he had a lot of influence on this, and in fact, the literature review was something that he had huge oversight of, basically trying to make it sound like this PhD supervisor is the one who did and handled the literature review, which is being criticized here.
No, that's reversed. That should be the thing that you can do in your sleep. The part that you want your advisor to look over is the mathematics. That is the reverse of how that works. And also, yeah, totally throwing that guy under the bus, saying, actually, it's his fault. Wow, what a piece of shit.
I mean,
This
I
is
suppose
something
it's a
Mike's
blessing to
thesis-
this guy that he did blame the mathematics on him.
Yeah, I suppose. Because that is the part that he should, if anything, that would be the part your advisor would have the most oversight on, because they're just more used to doing it, allegedly.
Jesus, what the fuck?
Well, not with standard deviations like these.
Nope.
never provides. Mike's lack of independence in thought and approach is evident in the methodology as well. All performance tests, analytical techniques, and interpretative frameworks appear to be taken directly from existing literature, most often from Mike's supervisor, Mike Stone, and close colleagues, without exploration of alternatives or acknowledgement of limitations. The thesis doesn't test new models, question prevailing assumptions, nor integrate competing viewpoints. The lack of originality in the thesis is therefore not surprising. It's the predictable result of a research process that never stepped outside its own circle to ask new questions. A doctoral thesis isn't evaluated just on the originality or significance of its content, but also the clarity and accuracy with which that content is presented. Mike Israetel's thesis fails comprehensively on this front. Across the thesis, Mike presents impossible and contradictory data, inflates simple points with jargon, and allows hundreds
Oh, he's fucking known for doing that.
of basic grammatical, typographical, and formatting errors to remain
Wait.
uncorrected.
Unbelievable,
Spoon.
that part.
Pause for a moment.
You on?
Go back 5 seconds. Get those tables back up. Here's our first hint.
Oh yeah.
Here's our
There you
first
go,
hint.
Aiden.
Get those
Oh,
tables
yes,
back
yes,
up on
yes, the
screen.
mean. Oh my
The
god,
mean,
okay.
the lowest and highest performers, the mean of lowest performers versus the
12.5.
the standard
The
deviation.
12.5 and
No, the lowest
71.8
performers
is
one.
the... Yes, the lowest... Well, the 12.5 also is not
No,
great.
no.
But the
it's the-
71.8 and
yeah.
the 173.5 are fucking... I don't know
Like,
what
Oh yeah,
happened.
the
bo-
standing
so the
height.
body
Jesus
mass-
Christ. Like
so the-
over 3 meters tall. What the fuck?
So, the standard deviation
Well
would be
over
with
3. That's
a...
like the tallest people to ever live.
Yes, for the lowest performers, if their mean height is 174.9 centimeters and the standard deviation is 173.5, for one standard deviation away from the mean, that would mean that 65 on a normal curve, 68% on a normal curve would fall within that standard deviation, meaning between 100, basically like 1 centimeter and 175 centimeters.
That's a hell of a bell curve. And what's the
Yeah.
upper level?
Fucking
What does the upper level of that bell curve look
That's-
like as well?
that's-
What kind of
yes.
Hyperborean giants was Mike Israetel studying here?
We're also talking about then, because that's one standard deviation away from the mean, which means that every additional one is that exact same measurement.
19.8 to 21.
With a standard
So people
deviation-
haven't been born.
Negative age. Yes. What that would mean with a
So
standard deviation of
fetal stem
21.4. It just means, well, actually, it goes back. You've not even been conceived yet. So,
Fetal
know.
stem
Well, yeah,
cells
people
that
who are-
are 5% fat.
People who are lighter than air, who sink into the ground because they are minus height, who have not
Yeah.
yet been born. Mike is
But
talking
still have
about
5%
some
fat.
kind of like but still have some level of body fat percentage. So we're talking about
Very
people
slightly.
who are ephemeral spirits that Mike has been studying according to this one slip up on the standard deviation.
Just a
And
little
this should
oopsie.
be obvious. Just a
Yeah,
little
again-
Studying
glance
ghosts,
through your
basically.
tables. Like this is something you spend like a year or two on, and he didn't glance through these
Yeah.
tables while he was spending 2 years on this.
already, again, the standard deviations, even for the highest performers, which these are more reasonable numbers, but even that 12.5 stuck out to me immediately, and then I looked over to the other side and was like, oh my god, yeah, that is physically not possible, obviously.
Was he on roids
and
when he did this?
it's not just that he looked at these numbers and they seemed okay to him. But
Nobody
a
else caught
panel
it.
of professors not only looked at this and read this over, including his advisor, but also people from outside in the department, and then would have done a defense where they had to read this thing in front of him and bring their questions and grill him for a day. The average defense is about 8 hours. Sometimes it lasts 4 days. Like, not 4 days as in the number 4, but not just one day of doing it. You have to come back and continue to defend it and make more arguments. And nobody caught something this blatantly obvious. That's ludicrous.
Somebody said he was on trend at the time. That probably wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what else would explain something like that, because that's, crack math or something.
When
That's
was
like
he
the Stephen King
265?
excuse for why there's all that stuff in it. Oh, he was on cocaine at the time, except I was on a lot of Tren at the time.
Simple points with jargon and allows hundreds of basic grammatical, typographical, and formatting errors to remain uncorrected. The following sections unpack these issues in detail, and by the end, you'll see that it's impossible to view Mike's work as anything but fundamentally compromised.
Actually, a very nice way of saying retarded, but yeah.
Some
Yeah.
of the data Mike presents in the
Solomon's
extreme
very
group
polite.
comparison
He is,
tables
yes.
are statistically impossible. On page 77, Mike acknowledges the large standard deviations in tables 4.6 and 4.7.
Yes, he even makes
But
note
how
of it.
large are we talking?
Yeah.
That means he's looked over it.
Forgot
That means he's looked at it and so went like, wow, those standard deviations are really big. And again, one standard deviation on a normal curve is 68% of the population, which means inherently that there's going to be 68%. What is it, 22 or is it 30? Yeah, 22%. I've dyscalculated, so I'm bad with small maths. Like 22% of the rest of the sample that will be in further deviated from the mean. 32. Yes. So.
160 plus IQ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude, dyscalculated means that the small maths are hard. And yeah, this guy, sorry for me, but also that makes no sense, because it would mean that it would definitely have, by that very definition, more than 30%, or about that percent of your population, of your sample size, that is even further skewed from the mean. Crazy shit. And he notes it, which means he recognized that they were insane standard deviations.
Bizarre.
Well, let's examine.
I like someone in the chat, he went, that's weird. Anyway.
It's actually giving me like brain damage to try to think about this.
He probably fucking did as well.
Yeah, I probably did.
4.6
Oh,
and
God, that was
4.7,
good.
which are on page 71. They compare the top 20 and bottom 20 jumpers. Tables 4.6 and 4.7 report that for the 20 lowest performers, the mean body masses were 73.9 kilos and 75.3 kilos respectively, with standard deviations of 71.8 kilos, virtually equal to the means themselves. This is a statistical absurdity. Standard deviation measures
That is
the spread of
impossible.
the data around
No.
the mean.
So
A standard
what it means is he's
deviation
copied
this
and pasted
large
it.
relative
Yeah.
to the mean is nonsensical
Also.
in a biological context. For this to be true, given a normal distribution, it would mean that roughly 1/3 of the lowest performing athletes in table 4.6 had a body mass either greater than 145.7 kilos or less than 2.1 kilos,
Yeah.
the weight of a newborn. And since we know that this group
such a
consists
beautiful
of
picture.
20 Division 1 college athletes, this is impossible. But it gets even worse. In table 4.6, 1/3 of the lowest performers was either older than age 41.2 or younger than -1.6. So they hadn't even been born. In table 4.7, 1/3 was either older than age 41.1 or younger than -1.3. Mike does this again on page 94 in table 5.4.
This is unbelievable.
As with tables 4.6 and 4.7, the standard deviations for the lowest performers are impossible. Here,
It's the same
1/3 of
mistake.
the lowest
Yes.
performance
Over and
was
over
either
again.
taller than
Yes.
3.459
Wait a minute.
meters,
Was
taller
one of those
than
standard
any
deviations a
human ever
negative?
recorded.
Yes. Totally done well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was negative 1.3.
yeah, they bring them into negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, go back. Wait, like 1
And
second.
that's
Can we
only-
do that?
And imagine that's only the first
Wait,
standard
one sec.
deviation away from the mean.
1 second. Let me
Go
get
back,
back to
yeah.
it because
Then
I
negative
rolled back for a second
1.3.
to see. He has that
Middle
whole table up.
4.7.
Okay, wait, no, that's not it.
1/3 was like 0.2.
It's hard to
worse.
Okay.
skim
The weight
through
of
these.
a new
Okay,
at
okay,
a body
ask me
mass
this.
either greater than 145.7
Okay, right.
kilos
I think
or less than 2.1 kilos.
I think this is giving you an
The
annual.
weight of a new
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Since we know that this group
What the-
consists of 20
Yeah, it's
Division
coming
I
up now.
college
I
athletes,
want to see it. Yeah, I
This
want to
is
see it. I
impossible.
want to see this
but it
graph.
gets even worse. In table 4.6,
One moment. Okay. Wait, that's not it
the-
either.
Yeah,
Let's
no, there
just
it
play
is.
it together.
1/3 of the lowest
Was it
There.
the negative?
was
Whatever.
either
There.
older
Okay.
than age 41.2
That's fucking unbelievable.
or younger than negative 1.6.
Wait, it's
they
after this,
hadn't
yeah.
even been born.
No, that's
Oh,
the
wait.
one.
No,
It is a
that's
negative.
the, no. In the next,
How
in the
could
next,
the
that's,
standard
no,
deviation be greater than the mean?
it can't. That's the negative in terms of them being a negative age.
In
But
table
here in a second,
4.7,
there's another table here that he pulled up where the standard deviation I thought it said was negative, which is that can't happen. But let me
1/3
so I
was
want to double
either
check.
older than age 41.
It's after this,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Or younger
One
than
second, one second.
negative 1.3.
I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Mike does this again on page 94 in table 5.4.
Oh no, it's
No,
the
the
effect
the
size.
effect
Okay,
size.
sorry. Oh god.
Oh, it's the
Okay,
size of
yeah.
face.
Sorry, yeah. I that's fine. I thought it was a negative standard deviation, which would have been the most insane thing ever. Oh, I'm actually so glad it's not that bad. Am I? No, it would have been better if it was that bad. It's that level of that.
It's still pretty.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that you
But-
thought it was possible in the first place.
My bad. Sorry.
As with tables 4.
Look at the lowest performance. Look at that. A mean of 21.8% body fat. That's quite high. To 12.2. That's like 34% body fat. That's high as fuck.
The standard
Well-
deviation.
Lowest performer though, and that also means, however, it would that amongst the lowest performers would also be. I mean, that one actually makes sense.
9%.
That one's
That's pretty fucking low.
I mean, it's pretty low. It's pretty low though. Yeah, it is. So maybe.
Yeah,
but
like
then-
from
It's the fact that it's a
34% to 9
consistent
is
problem.
fucking huge.
The people on the other side would be on the low end 7%.
Yeah,
So
that's high.
that does not make sense. Well, I'm saying it's very bizarre. All of it, it's very funny maths. I'm so glad it's not a negative STD though, because that would have been crazy.
6 and 4.7.
An STD.
The standard
deviation is how you write it in notation in
performers
STD.
remain possible. Here, 1/3 of the
Oh,
lowest
okay.
performers was either taller than 3.459 meters, taller than any human ever recorded, or shorter than negative 6.1 centimeters. As to
Why is he
age,
hanging from the
either they
ceiling?
were older than 40.4 years of age, or younger than negative 1.4 years, meaning, once again, that they hadn't yet been born. No wonder they were such low performers. These are numbers so
I suppose so.
fundamentally wrong that they could only result from incompetent data entry, which is exactly what's happened here. Mike appears to have simply copied the mean figures of the highest performers and pasted them as the standard
Yes,
deviations
yes.
of the lowest performers. To have made this mistake just once would be damning enough. But Mike makes this exact same error in 3 separate tables.
I don't
These
have
mistakes
any idea how you could do
invalidate the
this.
Okay, I have
I
a
genu-
theory.
I-
The only way you could possibly do that is
Yes.
if you were running a script.
This is 2012. You mean what? You mean like an AI thing?
No, just like running a copy and paste script across like a very large set of data banks. I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Yeah, but in order to get that graph, he had to put that into SPSS or SAS, I presume. Meaning he had to put that into statistical software. There's no way to make that error. I don't
3
even.
times.
I can't understand how you could make that error. because you would have to be copy and pasting it over the results that you get inherently in SPSS or SAS or R or whatever you're using.
Can you do
Not
it?
only do you make that error, but then also your supervisor and everybody else
Yes,
involved in the
all sides.
university and anybody else that you
No one
show this
catches that,
paper
yeah.
to also has to just glaze their eye over and not notice.
To be fair, people largely
We
don't
was
pay attention to standard deviations. I would they're kind of just reported on as normal form, and so maybe if you were reading something, you might not necessarily pick up on that immediately. But if you're reading a doctoral dissertation, which is supposed to be pored over and dissected, it's inexcusable on every level. This level of sloppiness.
Entire tables and any conclusions drawn from them. If this doesn't count as ineffective communication of research findings, then nothing does. Further incompetence can be seen in Mike's handling of percent differences. Take table 5.5, where the majority of percent differences reported is negative. However, Mike omits the minus sign altogether in figures 5.1 and 5.2, as well as in the text on page 96. For example, he writes of an 8% difference without clarifying that the value in question was actually negative 8.71%,
Oh my God.
according to
Yeah.
table 5.5.
You would report that as 9, by the way.
And Mike's rounding is also both imprecise
Yes.
and inconsistent. Starting with imprecision, percent differences of negative 8.71% and negative 7.91% are both inexplicably rounded up.
What the
to
fuck?
8%. As to inconsistency, a smaller difference of 2.42%
This is
is
insane.
rounded more precisely to 2.4%.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas all of the other percent differences are rounded to whole numbers. Mike gives no explanation for these discrepancies. And this sloppiness with the handling of percent differences crops up not just in Chapter 5, but also Chapters 3 and 4. This leads one to have rather little confidence in the care that was taken to present the results faithfully. I also want to highlight a finding in Table 4.4.
How would you suppose his IQ was negative 160?
I'm genuinely speechless.
Is this really, really
You
bad?
never know. You never
Yeah,
know.
I've got my
Maybe his
hands on the top of my
supervisor
head
was
in
the one-
confusion.
Maybe his
Sorry.
supervisor was the one administering the IQ test. We don't know.
Well, yeah, they're probably both 180 IQ super uber geniuses. Oh, this is unbelievable.
That flatly contradicts one of the central premises of Mike's thesis, which is that jump height correlates with sprint speed. This holds for the female athlete. Table 4.4 shows a strong negative correlation, negative 0.617, between jump height and 20-meter sprint time, as expected. But for the male athletes, the reported correlation is positive, 0.653.
Near opposite
suggesting,
balance, directly.
bizarrely, that higher jumpers were actually slower sprinters. Now, Mike never acknowledges nor explains this contradiction. Most likely it's just a typo, a missing minus sign. On its own, it wouldn't be damning. But given the context of the other glaring data errors, as well as many other basic mistakes that I'll detail later, it becomes part of a much larger pattern of negligence. When your tables repeatedly include sprinters who haven't been born yet, athletes shorter than 0 centimeters, and standard deviations that imply body masses smaller than a house cat or larger than an offensive lineman riding another offensive lineman, it's no longer just sloppy. It's
Yeah.
disqualifying.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think it probably should be over. It can't be overstated
the
how
thing
disqualifying.
we're getting-
Thesis. Simple idea.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Oh, my only point there
I
was
was just going to say, well,
yeah.
the
There you go.
we,
Oh, what do you mean?
Are we doing that thing? We're doing that thing.
You go first. You go first. Mine's,
I'm
I've
going
already
to make the
stated
point.
mine.
Just okay. So, all right. So yeah, like the idea that this is supposed to be something that you're supposed to be able to read it as both an expert in the field and potentially even a layman, or maybe just someone who's like slightly more educated than a layman,
Right.
and you're supposed to be able to get something out of it. Because like I read history books that talk about economics all of the time, and one of the things that you find in those is that you find lots of graphs, and you find lots of tables. I've got the bell curve on my desk at home, and there's loads of graphs and tables in that book that you can refer to get a nice shorthand for the information, and you can absorb it quickly without having to pore through all of the text. The text is there to supplement all of it, but all of the essential information is in those tables, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
if you try to do that with this, it's just complete nonsense. And if you try to refer to the text, then the text is contradictory to the tables.
Yes.
So he comes to loads of conclusions, but because of just how poorly this has been put together and how there's been no oversight at all to correct any of it, it means that whatever conclusions he states at the end, none of the information backs it up, which is the whole point of conducting scientific study and research in the first place. You get your hypothesis, you test it, you collect all of the results. Does the conclusion that you get from logically and analytically going through those results conform to the hypothesis, or have you found something else? You cannot do that with this paper.
No, and typically, at least for myself and everyone, I knew in doc school, this is the way it works, is that you typically don't read the text. You just go and look at the graphs. Oftentimes, you reference the text if you're confused about how they did something or what some aspect of their sample was or something like that. But typically, I just scroll down and look at the graphs and the data outputs. And if I were to see that when scrolling through a paper, I think I'd have an aneurysm. So, and it doesn't comport with the things he's also stating. So yeah, it's a complete mess.
Ideas are inflated with verbose, pseudo-technical language. This habit appears as early as the first page of the introductory chapter. Let's look at this equation. Skill 1 plus skill 2 plus skill 3 plus ellipsis plus skill n equals athletic performance magnitude. Mike asserts that skills sum to generate athletic performance. But why do they sum and not multiply or interact in complex ways? Mike doesn't say.
My ideal day, I would go down into my basement office and do deep work. Equations, systematizing.
Look how short
things.
he looks.
This equation is presented twice in the thesis without any justification.
He's presented this like it's a
and worse,
like it's
this
a
is
hypothetical
just a
model.
convoluted way of saying what Mike later admits on page 103. Sport performance depends on the athlete's ability to execute a combination of skills. Why not just state that from the outset in clear language?
He wanted to put it into a fucking
The same
equation.
can also be said of the other equation, fitness characteristics component plus technique components plus psychological component equals total skill magnitude.
Oh well, the full
But
model
there are
equals
bigger
the full
problems
model.
with this equation that I'll get into later. But for now, let me draw your attention to how on page 33, Mike labels fitness characteristics, technique, and psychology as theoretical variables. Mike attempts to justify this by stating, these variables are theoretical because pure measurement of almost all of them is impossible, short of a few fitness characteristics, such as body mass and percent fat. But this is irrelevant to Mike's thesis. Had Mike just removed the word theoretical, which adds nothing anyway, he would have spared the reader this pointless philosophical digression. Mike's tendency to overcomplicate sometimes backfires. Consider page 14,
Undergraduate
where Mike
style
defines
writing, by
fitness
the way.
characteristics as theoretical constructs that obviate the input of any sport-specific technique or psychological variables. Not
Okay,
only is
some of
this
that's
phrasing
expected in
clumsy,
thesis.
obviate the input is nonsensical in
But
this context.
obviate.
Well, Spoon,
obviate means-
pause it.
Yes.
Spoon, you can confirm this, right? We were speaking about it before the stream started. This is what Mike always does. He always overcomplicates things and goes into what sounds like loads of detail when really he's just using a lot of words to describe something simple. And that's what we were talking about before with the debate that he did with Greg Doucette, who you can have issues with, but Greg, overall, his fitness advice is pretty simple and he presents it simply. Where like Mike's going over all of these different variables and saying, no, you need to do this and you need to go into periodization and you need to take out these random standardized weeks so that you can do deload weeks, and then you need to return past into a new periodization where you return at a certain percentage of. And Greg just stops and he's like, yeah, I just don't think most people will understand what you're saying. Like he's a pure sophist.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah, he's one of those people that is just typically too
Obviate.
concerned with sounding smart rather than saying something smart.
I'm pretty
Mainly because
sure
what
he
needs to be
can-
said has already been said since the fucking 70s. That's probably why he sounds like such a complete mealy-mouthed wanker.
Wait, actually, that's a good question. How old is this guy? Like in his 40s? 50s,
Mike is
maybe?
42, I
40s?
think.
He's early to mid 40s.
Yeah.
So the word obviate in particular has been used by a lot of people to be synonymous with evidence. It evidences because, and I'm not even joking about this, because of a quote from Star Trek: The Next Generation. And it's really infected the lexicon to make it seem as if obviate means to demonstrate when that is not what it means. So that's, there you go. I think that might, by total accident, be a Star Trek reference.
This is why we have Aiden here.
Yeah, because that's the only way I see use that word incorrectly.
Really adding the
Are
value.
people second-handedly quoting Star Trek? Because it's from
German
Ode to
guys.
Spot, Data's poem.
Two German guys and a nerd walk into a bar.
To make unnecessary, or to avoid, or prevent. But Mike misuses it here to mean something like exclude consideration of. What he's trying to say is simple. Fitness characteristics are physical traits like strength and speed, independent of technique or mindset. But instead of stating that clearly, Mike buries it in pretentious sludge. This tendency to dress up the mundane reaches absurdity in Chapter 3, where Mike argues that allometrically scaled peak force is a superior predictor of performance to relative strength. But in his own tables, on pages 43, 66, and 91, he reports allometrically scaled peak force in newtons per kilogram, which is, by definition, a measure of relative strength. It's just the force an athlete produces divided by his or her body mass. True allometric scaling requires adjusting for nonlinear size relationships using an exponent, for example, mass to the power of 0.5, which Mike never does. So Mike has taken a basic calculation, relative strength, mislabeled it with a more complex and scientific-sounding term, allometric scaling, and then claimed its superiority over the very thing it actually is. It's
Jesus
as if
Christ,
he
this is
poured
pure
water
Reddit.
into a fancy bottle,
Is it
called
that
it
bad?
hydroosmotic elixir.
Yes. I don't know how else you describe this other than Reddit of just, yeah, again, trying to use more complex sounding jargon rather than being more succinct and accurate. That's ludicrous.
And then claimed it's
Given
better
his
than
Reddit
regular
atheist credentials, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all coming together, right?
water.
He's
In
painting a
trying to
picture.
sound more sophisticated, Mike inadvertently reveals a lack of understanding, both of the concepts involved and how to convey them clearly. Say only what needs to be said, because wordiness can impede the ready grasp of ideas.
Agreed.
So advises page 67 of the APA 6 publication manual, a resource Mike clearly should have followed much more closely, as the next section will make all too evident.
Oh dear.
I don't like to nitpick the odd typo or formatting inconsistency. I acknowledge that minor errors are hard to avoid in any long document. But Mike Israetel's thesis doesn't just have a few scattered mistakes. It contains literally hundreds of basic grammatical, typographical, and formatting errors. I won't cover all of them here, since it would simply take too long. We can save it for a later video. But even a brief overview is enough to show that this isn't a matter of being overly critical. No reasonable standard of academic quality could justify a thesis this riddled with elementary errors. It speaks to a total lack of editorial care at every level, from the writer, Mike Israetel, to the supervisor, Mike Stone, to the examiners.
This will be your thing,
One
Aiden.
of the sloppiest features of Mike's thesis is the rampant copy-pasting of entire sections across chapters, with identical errors left untouched. The methods section, in chapters 4 and 5, are near verbatim clones of those in chapter 3, reproducing the exact same typos, the exact same formatting mistakes, and the exact same structural oversights, of which there are many, which is strong evidence that large portions of the thesis were duplicated wholesale without even a cursory proofread. For instance, all 3 chapters contain the same numbering error. 2 consecutive items in a numbered list are labelled 4, an error that appears on pages 40, 62, and 87. Typos like mid-thing pull instead of mid-thigh pull show up first on page 44 and reappear on page 68. The
Jesus
phrase
Christ,
test
that was like a
rest
jump
reliability rather than test retest appears on 3 different pages. Clunky, ungrammatical phrasing, such as shown determinative instead of shown to be determinative, is copied across pages 42 and 65. Even complex citation strings with missing punctuation, inconsistent spacing, and misformatted elements recur word for word in multiple locations. On pages 61 and 86, Mike writes, a large group of athletes was tested in strength, RFD, strength, power, short distance sprinting, and body composition measurements. The word strength is included twice in the same list. This reads more like kenoparody than kinesiology.
Ever since I was 6 years old, I wanted to crack the code to building a body that was powerful, strong,
Sorry, I had to leave for a
and
second.
powerful.
Was there anything insane?
That such obvious mistakes made it into the final version.
Say what you want about Kino, whatever his face is, right, though, but like, he's got a much better physique than Mike ever has.
Yeah. And with the
Not just once, but twice.
the dragon setups. Nice. Well done, fair play.
Yeah, but like, right. Let me just add something here, right? Mike is a notorious stoner. He mentions all the time in his videos how much he likes smoking weed, right?
Oh, that's
I
great
imagine
for
that
you.
goes back to his college days. There's no shock that it wouldn't shock me that he would be doing that in college as well, right? That this thesis, which he was supposed to take 2 years or whatever to do, this whole paper was shat out in the past 2 weeks before it was hitting the deadline.
That's how it.
And that he actually spent
Yeah.
most of that time smoking weed, which would explain all of the errors, the lack of originality, and the rampant copy and paste.
It does read like that. The only reason why I would, I guess the caveat I put in there is that you don't just they don't just kind of give you that 2 years or however long it takes for you to finish your PhD totally free. You're supposed to be constantly checking in with your advisor, constantly working with them together collaboratively to help construct the thesis. It's not that you are not taking classes. If you look at your schedule, your last or second 2 years in doctoral school, it is still a full class schedule, but it just says thesis for every class. So it's how could he have done nothing? Because I agree. That's what it looks like, that he threw this together 30 days away from
but the very
defense.
fact that this passed, the very fact that this passed, right, suggests to me that these supervisors and everybody else that he was interacting with were not giving him great oversight and were in
Apparently not.
fact giving him presumably a fuck ton of leeway. So
They were all smoking weed, yeah.
maybe
weed.
they were all getting stoned together. I mean,
Hey, graduate
One of them
supervisors
was
should be like
named
that.
Stone.
So
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. To be fair, graduate
there you
departments
go.
can be like that a little bit, but that's insane.
Because so far what I'm seeing is instead of testing the strength of anybody or testing correlations or anything like this, what he was actually testing was just the strength of his Control and C keys.
Yes, it certainly looks like it.
It's a good joke.
Or even thrice,
You can keep it.
twice, or even thrice,
There we go.
suggests that no one, not the author, not his supervisor, and not the examiners, was paying much attention. Mike doesn't just
They're all
copy-paste
stoned.
across chapters. He even does
Maybe.
it within them. On page 74, the exact same passage appears twice in a row.
Yeah, this is a
verbatim.
complete no-no. You can't do this.
This pattern of duplication and error isn't just a sign of laziness. It raises serious doubts about whether much of the thesis was meaningfully reviewed at all.
No way it was. Ooh, my favorite, actually.
Mike's
Unironically,
thesis,
I didn't
written
see
in
this part.
2013 was required to comply
Well, I've only seen
with
bits
the
of this in
APA
general.
6th edition, the mandated style guide.
So I'm a
of East
complete
Tennessee State
anal retentive
University's Sports
madman
Science
about
and Coach
APA.
Education department. The thesis repeatedly fails to follow even the most basic rules of APA 6 citation and formatting. In-text citations are riddled with errors.
Oh, I really want to see the
Orthogroups
citations.
are separated by commas instead of semicolons. Ampersands are replaced with and. Commas and periods
No!
are frequently misplaced or omitted. Punctuation appears before citation.
Hold on, Aiden's
I'm
having
sorry.
an aneurysm.
I've never heard someone get such joy from basic formatting errors.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my-
Citations. This is
It's my
this is wonderful.
favorite. I love. Well, I love being accurate to APA. So this is hilarious to me. Yeah. Sorry.
Instead of after them. And bizarre constructions appear with inexplicable doubling up of brackets and periods.
It's because it's been
The
copied.
problems
Yeah.
don't end with citations in the body text. The reference lists themselves are an untamed mess.
Oh my.
Across
Wait.
four-
Oh okay. Shoot. Never mind. I'll just let it go because I hope he brings it back up because I want to see.
Mike fails to italicize journal names,
Yep.
misformats volume and issue numbers,
Oh, that's
botches page
fucked.
ranges, uses commas where colons should be, and vice versa. Inconsistently applies punctuation after journal
Nope.
titles,
No comma.
and freely
Right. Yeah. He's
oscillates
using
between
periods.
different spacing conventions. One reference alone, Cormier et al.
It's 'cause it's been
2010C,
copy-pasted. Yeah.
Manages to misspell science as sense, list a physically impossible page range, implying that the article ends before it begins. It omits necessary spacing.
This guy is a
after
time traveler, I
punctuation,
think.
And it inserts a comma before the final period for good measure.
That's how he was able to get those measurements from before people were born. What else would explain it?
He's
Well,
traveling
now
through
that-
space and time. He's exploring the fourth dimension for the sake of sports science. No wonder they overlooked all of this with such groundbreaking research.
I know.
That's why it passed.
I suppose so.
You did say they
What
were
the
stoned all the
fuck?
time.
As
so
we
that's-
figured out, he's an incredibly humble man. So he actually left that out of the text just so that it wouldn't, because he was only supposed to be studying sports science. These breakthroughs in quantum mechanics weren't part of the assignment.
I know that it probably seems very trivial to care about the citation stuff, but I don't know if this guy goes into it. But the reality is that this is stuff that you learn first semester graduate school, not doctoral school. And at least in my department, so I can only speak for myself, is that if I had made any, ignoring the spelling error, if I had made any of the just grammatical errors in terms of the APA citation formatting, it would have failed me on the project that I was working on in grad school, as it should.
Oh, it was the same
Because-
in my university.
Yeah.
This was stuff that we learned first semester as well, and I did a television and radio degree. They taught us. I don't remember if it was APA, but it was one standardized
that it would be
citation
APA,
format
yes.
that was.
Might be
Yeah,
MLA.
well, yeah.
one or the other.
Well, either way, it was whichever the universe decided was the one that they were going to stand by, and they hammered home to us. They said, "We know it sounds unfair, but we really need to let you know if you get the formatting wrong on this, you will fail. It is an automatic fail, so get it right."
Yeah, I mean, I said in grad and doc school, but you learn this in undergrad. It's just in doc school where it's completely unacceptable to make these kinds of errors, like that would delegitimize the entire project. So that's
Yeah,
why
like
this
when I
is
was handing in papers
crazy.
at university, this was something you've jogged my memory now. Thank you, Aidan. Yeah, when I was handing in the papers that I was writing at university for my projects, I remember by the time I'm handing it in, my nerves, the anxiety about handing it in
Yeah.
was not to do with any of the actual substantive content of what I was writing about.
The
It was
citation.
checking the citations over and over and over again, double checking, triple checking, right before I'm handing it in, going over it again, finding programs that would go and scan through it for you to check if you've missed anything, and making absolute sure, because I didn't want to fail a paper or fail an assignment over one bullshit mistake where I put a comma wrong somewhere.
And that is how it's typically taught. Again, like you get, in my experience, you get points knocked off in undergrad, but in graduate school, this is just not acceptable at all. And that's for regular daily work, not talking about your thesis, which is supposed to be perfect. The whole point of a dissertation, in many senses, is that it's supposed to be the best thing that you can do currently with all of your skills. You may learn more later. You're intended to, actually. But it's supposed to be a perfect document to the best of your abilities. And it's actually very interesting that this guy's a fitness coach, or to some capacity also, meaning that he's trying to push other people to their greatest, and this is his.
Yeah.
160 plus IQ. You know, who are we to judge when we are so far below this man? He's at least 3 standard deviations above, or maybe, I don't know,
Well,
maybe
probably
one, maybe
one.
minus
Yeah.
0.5.
Something like that, if the standard deviation is 100, yeah.
Measure. This exact citation appears uncorrected on pages 52, 78, and 109. Such duplications not only reinforce the impression of thoughtless copy-pasting, but point to a total collapse of any editorial review process.
Bro, my YouTube videos are correct correctly
Basic
cited.
spelling errors are everywhere. Mike misspells the word vertical as vetical or vetrical, individual as invididual, properties as propertites,
you have
biomechanics
spell
as
check.
biomechanins, neural as neural, training as traininige,
I know how funny this is
science
going to
as
be.
sense as
Wait,
already
say
noted,
that again.
canons, neural as neural, training as traininige, science as sense as already
Train a
noted,
what?
and
What? Yeah.
Amazing, got away with that.
There was already an end tower in the chat.
Yeah, totally was totally fine.
Again tonight, though, there
as
was another end tower.
exercise
with many Rs.
or exercise.
I don't get.
Even worse.
I don't know why. I think it's like I think it's the weird esoteric editing that comes from some of his videos that he that he front loads. I do get like minor chud energy from Solomon, but I don't think he is. But just because of the weird random editing that pops up in these videos sometimes, and when he throws out stuff like where he kind of looks in the camera, it's like, you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. But
You know he's got a mean
you
streak of
have
shit
spell
posting
check.
in him.
you have Uno. What are you doing? I don't
Yeah.
understand how you can mess this up this bad. That part, sometimes you skim over some things that pop up obviously in spell check because they are real words, but spell check doesn't recognize them. Now the way to fix that is to immediately add it to the dictionary. It takes 10 seconds or 1 second, excuse me, to add the word to the dictionary if you know it's spelled correctly, so you don't have that problem in the future. But when he was looking at this while editing it, it had to be everything was underlined in red, and he just ignored all of it. I guess.
Also,
I'm very much now ascribing to the theory that he wrote this in a week
probably yes.
or a month. 'Cause
It
you'd have
makes
to
the
get
most
data.
sense. It makes
Yeah.
the most sense. He slacked off for a couple of years, smoked weed all the time, and then just decided to shit it out in as short a time as possible.
Possibly, yes.
That's the most reasonable explanation for it. Yeah.
Also,
of cited researchers.
Harry, you watched the full Nippet video, yes?
The one that he released today, yeah.
Yes. Because you were saying, is he hiding some chud? You know, from like the aggressive tone he was trying to hold back, you could tell he just wanted to say to Jeff Nippert, like, you weaselly little cunt. Like, you could tell there's a lot of aggression.
He wanted to throw a slur in there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He is Australian, and I know the Australians love a slur.
Yeah.
They sure do.
Argard
Probably know which one it
repeatedly
was,
becomes
too.
either-
I think he's English though.
Yep.
I imagine he was definitely born in England.
Solomon
but just
Nelson?
raised in Australia. Yes.
No, that. Wait.
Well, he's got the
think you
Aussie
can
accent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think you can divest
Does he?
yourself of your love of the C word if you're from Australia. It's endemic. I
Argard with a missing A, or Argard. Claysons turns into Claysons eat, and Haldeman is rendered
my God,
without its final
how?
N. The journal title,
actually
Europe.
how?
Is he dyslexic?
No, that's way more than dyslexia. He's adding additional letters. Are his
God.
fingers that fat? No, his fingers must be so. He can't type. That's what it is.
This
I
might have
figured
been
out.
during his dream bulk.
Yes, he's so muscular.
The spirit
his
bulk is what he called
fingers-
it.
His
He
fingers
literally
are
called
so
it- Oh,
yeah, the
massive and
spirit bulk,
muscular.
yeah.
He can't type correctly. He just hits like 3 keys at the same time.
He
And,
literally
he-
called
he's too
getting
grug-brained
big
to
his
fix it.
spirit bulk. The 265.
Wow.
I don't know who the fuck told you that you need to bulk up to 265 at the 5'5". Like, what are you hoping to sit on people who bullied you?
I
Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of. The
Oh
only
my
reason to get
God.
that fucking big.
I'm sorry, but I have allergies, so like
Crushing
came out a bit
bully,
more
yeah.
cackly than I intended.
European Journal of Applied Physiology is mangled more than once, notably as European Journal Applied of Physiology. Perhaps the most common
Whoa! The crazy stuff about that is it means he actually typed that. Because when I go and do a citation, even back in 2012, because I've been doing it that long, you would just go to Google or put it into APA Citation Machine or something like that. There's tons of tools that help you do this stuff automatically that and have existed since the early 2000s. That actually kind of indicates that he typed this himself rather than copy and pasting it. Some of these, it really does. So he fat fingered it quite literally. That's nuts.
mechanical failure in the thesis is Mike's inability or refusal to press the spacebar. Missing spaces between words
His
and
fat
after
fingers, yeah,
punctuation
he can't hit the
are so
space bar.
frequent, it's as if the spacebar was rationed. They're everywhere. And by the time you encounter the 100th instance, you're no longer wondering how they slipped through. You're wondering if Mike's keyboard was partially submerged in cement. On page 96, Mike claims to summarize the results of an investigation as illustrated in Table 3.4. However, a quick glance at Table 3.4, located on page 46, reveals a complete disconnect between the text and the table it purports to describe. The text on page 96 discusses a comparison of athletes based on their lean body mass, 2% fat ratio, but Table 3.4 presents anthropometric data for athletes grouped by their performance in the allometrically scaled
Sloppy.
isometric mid-thigh pull. Mike likely meant Table 5.5, not
Yes,
Table
yes.
3.4.
There's literally nothing correct
Grammatical
About
errors
any of
are
this.
everywhere.
No.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I'm so glad that you've shown me this
anything
spoon.
that he could have.
Go
Done
ahead, sorry.
properly.
He seems to have just kind of bungled the whole thing. But I'm very thankful for you for you showing me this, because this is, had I encountered this in the wild, which I never would have, because I'm never heard of
Not a
this guy.
fitness dog. Yeah.
Dude, I would have I would have done exactly what this guy did, because this is insane.
One of the most persistent problems is subject-verb agreement. The plural noun, data, is repeatedly paired with singular verbs. Data was extracted. Data was
No,
assessed.
no,
Data
the worst.
was statistically
Oh, no,
analyzed.
Oh god, this is
Does
like
he
one
fuck
of
this up?
yeah, this is one of
It's
of your massive like triggering.
It's my pet peeves.
things. Yeah,
Is data
I
are
know.
plural. Data are plural, so if he fucks this up, oh my
Data
god.
is.
Though he does occasionally get it right
No,
elsewhere.
data are. They are
Sentence
plural.
construction is similarly broken.
You're
Consider
so fucked.
break the path to a further elucidation. A muddled
A
idiom
further
that actually
elucidation.
reverses its intended meaning.
Yeah, it does.
This purpose of this review is to blah blah blah. Allows of the examination of. On page 77, we get the phrase does not shed skepticism. Mike probably meant cast doubt. On page 97, he writes of no counter
AI could not have written this.
of association.
It's too
Usually
early.
one just says unexpected.
I have an honest
Of course,
question.
an-
Is this
an
guy
AI
retarded?
Go back to go.
I don't think we can easily. Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, does not shed skepticism.
Does not shed skepticism. What? Like
Well, you know,
I
I
could
hear
see
Harry go like,
myself
"What the fuck?"
encountering that in the wild, just like my eyes start to glaze over.
Right? Well, you know how you shed your skepticism, I suppose. I want to believe or something. What the fuck is
does
it
not
supposed
shed
to mean?
skepticism. There's so many easier ways, like he says, cast doubt. There's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many easier ways to put that. But again,
But it's grammatically
again,
reversed.
if
So
you
it-
if you've yeah, it's a double negative. But
Yeah.
if you've got like if you're on the deadline, it's 3 days, you've spent 2 years goofing off
Getting
and smoking
high.
weed, you're probably stoned right now. And you
Yeah.
really, really need to get a good grade so that you can justify all this money that you've spent. God damn it, you need to sound smart.
Yeah,
I need to
sources
sound
cited,
smart
crack
right now.
pipe.
AI is not invented yet.
And
This
so, like, cast out, oh, that's a bit plebby, does not shed skepticism. Well, that's more syllables, so it's more bigger words. It's more smarter.
I will give one little bit of grace, which is that you do tend to see excessive verbosity in graduate and to a lesser extent doctoral thesi because they are trying
you
to,
know,
to
you lost me at it's got more syllables. And big word.
you are trying to kind of demonstrate your intellect to a certain degree. So the way that
He's
thesi are
fucking
written,
done a great job of that though, with numerous amounts of fucking
Yes.
spelling mistakes and formatting errors.
but you are demonstrating your intellect in a way that does not need to be demonstrated once you already have the PhD. However, so again, I have some grace to give there. It's so obvious that that this was thrown together very hastily in an attempt to sound intelligent, and how nobody caught this or they had to have caught it. It just means nobody read it. That's what it means 100%. Not a single person at that university read this dissertation, even a little bit.
Or nobody cared, or to infer even worse bad faith from this, perhaps they caught
Yeah.
everything, but Mike
Didn't
was
care.
their guy. Mike was their guy.
Yeah.
Aiden, tell me if you saw this. I'm sure everybody saw it at university. There was always one or two students who got along really well with the lecturers.
yes.
Most of the times it would be girls with the male lecturers, but sometimes it can be guys who end up getting along really well and being friends. And so much of the standards that are applied to you and other people are thrown aside for these guys who get so much more
Yes.
leeway and so much more time from the lecturer or supervisor than everybody else. And sometimes you feel like they're actually trying to make sure they pass rather than trying to make sure they do good work.
That was certainly the case that I saw both on all levels of academia. It was not my personal experience because I got maybe lucky, maybe unlucky in that my advisor, I was talking to Spin about this. He did what I think a trainer is supposed to do, this guy, which is that he would just keep pushing
ass.
on me and be like, no, you can do better. You can do better. Like, this is, it's shit. It's trash. Do better work. But there were certainly other students around me on all levels of academe, who, yes, they were the favorites because they sucked up, essentially. And academics love having smoke blown up their ass. So yeah, a large number of people with doctoral degrees and advanced degrees have them because they are people pleasers, or at least capable of pretending to be as such.
On page 97, he writes of no counter-expected directions of association. Usually one just says unexpected. Punctuation is similarly chaotic. Semicolons are used where colons are required, redundant ellipses appear after etc., and periods appear in the wrong places. Hyphenation is inconsistent and often incorrect. Terms like outperform with a hyphen, well-trained with no hyphen, and p-value with no hyphen violate both standard
get your p-value
and
correct.
APA-specific conventions.
Yes. Flunked out of undergrad for this stuff.
In the appendices, Mike Stone is identified as the principal investigator, spelled P-L-E, from pages 125 to 133, before suddenly becoming the correctly spelled principal investigator, P-A-L,
No way.
from pages 137 onward. And on the
Dude,
very last
what? This is a joke.
Mike's own CV. The formatting of his listed publications contains APA errors. In the acknowledgements, Mike Stone
What
is
the
thanked
fuck
for
is
the
going
best
on?
scientific
Is
What?
this like excessively bad?
Yes. On his published his public CV, there's APA errors. I know it sounds like insane nerd shit, but these standards exist for a reason, and it's kind of a lot of it is just like passing the sniff test of yes, we know how to do this stuff. We're very consistent with this, and they can't even do that. This whole field is fucked.
Aiden, do you want to know something even more like demented and horrible to know? Right?
Yes.
Because this guy got his PhD with this paper so that he could wave it about and say, I'm Dr. Mike, I'm Dr. Mike. He is now a millionaire.
Yes. He has used this absolute nonsense to make himself a millionaire.
In fairness, Harry, that millionaire has mainly been used to push a crap load of fucking drugs through his ass as well as do surgery. So it's not like he's doing much use with it.
Well,
That's true.
You did show the picture of his ass earlier where it was bleeding, so yeah, it makes sense.
Oof.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Mike likely meant for being the best scientific mentor he's ever had. On the next line, Mike writes Mizuguchi for.
You can't
as
even get the
one word.
acknowledgements right.
Mike then thanks his friends for tolerating his attitude on his so-called low-carb dissertation writing days. Judging by both the content of the dissertation as well as his physique at the time it was written, one might reasonably infer that such days were few and far between. The cumulative effect
Damn.
That was
That's
very
some
subtle.
Premium shade.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
of all of these mistakes, copy-pasted.
Considering the man was trying to peak for a show by knocking down fucking high, fructose corn syrup cereal and Gatorade, I don't believe for one fucking second he even knows what no-carb dieting looks like. That's utter horseshit.
Listen, right? Okay, calories in, calories out is a great rule of thumb, right? But it's not going to get you show ready. It's not going to get you show ready. You can't just down Gatorade in prep for a show.
Yes. And also, just looking at how he was
I
there.
mean, yeah,
it was not low carb, no.
Well, the problem is as well with calories in, calories out. I mean, even Mike Mensa said basically you could do calories in, calories out, and as long as you are reasonable and make sure to count your calories, you can have ice cream every day as long as it's within your calorie goals. That is true. But the problem with only sticking to that is that most people simply don't have the willpower to only eat as little ice cream as is needed. Mike Israetel is clearly a guy who does not have the willpower to keep his greedy little hands away from the Gatorade even after he's hit his calorie goals
It's
that
fat
day.
logic. It's fat logic.
Also, Harry, I disagree. We've never met anyone with as much self-determination as he has. Never. We have no idea what the fuck that looks like.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True. Remember, whatever you think you're best at, Mike could take a year and he would be an expert in that field.
You're just not writing a PhD.
Aiden, that's
All been
something he's actually said, by the way.
Really?
In an interview, he said that. Yep.
Yeah. I think it was
Whatever
at the start
you
of this
think that you're an
particular one.
expert in, he could take a year and he would be one of the top researchers in that field.
Oh, I'd love to have a square go in that, Mike. That would be very fun. Where would you like to start?
You could set the challenge. You could tag him on Twitter and just be like, "Hey, Mike, here's my field. You've got a year. Let's go."
Yeah.
It would be so embarrassing.
Just say I can write a better exercise thesis in a year than you can. You probably could actually.
Yeah, I
Probably could.
Yeah.
no on a because I already have all the for me personally because I know how to do statistical analysis. I know how to do all the calculations on this. I just don't know the field, but the maths are maths, so it doesn't really matter as long as you understand constants and things like that or predicted norms, and that doesn't take long to learn. So yeah, if his work were in any way not insane and accurate, he could. I would believe that to a certain extent that you could learn how to understand a new field. But given that this is the baseline, I highly doubt.
He's never been able to peak for a bodybuilding show despite competing for 10 fucking years, right? He doesn't understand that the reason why he has love handles on his back is because he's a fat ass who can't fucking diet properly. He's got to get surgery. His waist is so shit from being blown out from being 265 fucking pounds at 5'6", supposedly anyway, that he now wants to get a waist trainer or some other shit. It's like, dude, you're just a lazy fat little cunt who can't fucking get his ass together. It's not rocket science. It's just lazy
and
shithead.
Also that he can. And also, and bear in mind again, he's already a millionaire. All of that is just so that he can get an IFBB Pro card, right?
He won't.
That's the level. Of course, he won't. But that's the level of needy we're talking about here. He desperately needs that validation, or else none of it was worth it. Because he's destroyed his psychology doing it as well. His head is fucked from all of those steroids that he took.
Yeah. Aiden, you should see it in an interview when he was saying, I just remember watching because it was funny because he said he was on Tren, Masteron, Test, and Anavar, which is fucking insane.
Is it not considered, inappropriate to be on all that stuff? He just admits that he's totally on all of these different medications.
Loads of them admit it. If they're not going the fake natty route, they will go out of their way to not only tell you the drugs that they're on, but loads of them will also tell you the exact dosages they're on.
Like a flex.
And when and how they take those dosages.
Yeah. Look how much chemicals I can fucking handle. Is basically.
Yeah, I thought you weren't supposed to admit to that, but I guess.
Yeah,
he doesn't pretend to be.
He also said
it depends on what field that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he also said that some of the psychological problems is that while he's, I can't remember in which state he's in, but looking at the backyard is like a row of trees when normally he would appreciate this, and now there's just like basically no feeling. He has like really strong bouts of psychotic rage. Like he's reading a Twitter comment and he's like fantasizing about going up to that person and just say it, you pussy, and then just basically beating them, and then like eating their organs. And it's like, I have these thoughts like random times, multiple times throughout the day, just like crazy shit. I'm like, the fact that you're aware of it and not aware of the fact that you are 41 years old, you've been competing for a decade, you have no capacity to get, I would imagine, even like single-digit body fat ever, that you are never gonna ever get a pro card because A, you're old, and B, your genetics are shit. And this kind of...
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, even if he could get to single-digit body fat, even if he could get to 3% body fat, he's got shit muscle insertions. His aesthetics are dreadful. He looks bad. He's an ugly little bridge troll, so it's never going to happen.
Yeah. Like, dude, like, his waist is wide as fuck. His lat insertions are really high. He has no biceps.
His
like,
waist
at
is
all.
wide because
None.
of the steroid abuse. Is it
No,
not?
his waist is wide because he was 265 fucking pounds at one point.
Oh, okay.
It's probably a combination because your waist can widen due to steroid
Being a
abuse as
fat
well.
ass,
Yeah. All
I think
of the
we have
above.
both. It's a combination
yeah,
of factors.
all of the above, yeah.
Real quick, we've got a couple of quite a few super chats. I'll read these and then we'll get back to it.
Sweet.
Gretnick for 5 says, "I have taken great work for what I wanted. Proper PCT. I'm now significantly stronger, faster, and oddly enough denser physically and probably mentally." I'm not sure what PCT is personally. Perhaps you guys know. Thank you.
Personal consult, like physical consultant therapy or something. I don't know, but fair play. If you're doing a lot better, that's great.
Oh yeah, man. Sir Squatch for 5 says, "I think I can explain this. It's my fault. I was the subject of Mike's study, and I can control my body mass like a Skyrim character creation slider. That would explain it." I suppose
Probably
you can
would,
go into
actually.
So
negatives
much
on
sense.
that. Yeah, you could put in a mod to go into negatives. Slosher for 10 Canadian says, "This isn't just debunking sports science to me. It's also making me question if Dr. Mike types are overrepresented in PhD and high IQs just because
Oh, God,
they do
yes.
this little oversight on each other." Yes.
Yes.
Massively.
It's kind of what I
Yes.
was bringing up earlier. What allows you to get a PhD more than anything is being extremely yeah, that's it. Is being amenable and being
Good little
amiable.
peasant.
Yes, be a kiss ass and you will get a PhD.
Yeah, I mean, I remember
Matislav
watching...
And on the IQ stuff, AA has a very good article about that on his Substack.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it
I know
actually,
the article you mean.
PhDs do not select for the highest IQ people. They select for the most conformist people, essentially.
I remember...
After a certain extent.
I remember a while ago that video that Lauren Southern did, like trying to bash Muslims and saying that, look, we in the West have like an education thing or whatever. And she listed the thing that educated people stay married for longer. And then she brought up this paper that she didn't fucking read because she's an idiot. And so I read the
In
paper.
such cases.
Yes, and in the paper it said the reason for most people to get like the most helpful trait in succeeding in academia is not intelligence, but agreeableness. Like,
Yes.
my God, agreeable people stay married for longer. Jeez, I can't fucking imagine why.
What a
You moron.
incomprehensible finding. Astonishing.
Fucking jeez.
Matislad for 10 says, "Dr. Mike traveled through..." Oh, no, I got that one. No, there's another one. Matislad for 10 says, "Dr. Mike travels through time and dimensions to study statistical impossibilities. We should be thanking him for his incredible work." He's basically Doctor Who. That's correct.
Bravo,
Quetzalpacheo
Vince.
Well done.
Quetzalpacheo de Serpiente Alada for 20 Mexican pesos says, "Pah, big deal. I'm stoned right now." You're not beating the Mexican stereotypes. The Printmaster
He's so
gave...
sleepy.
He's so sleepy. The Printmaster gave 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, man. And Hopper for 5 says, "Shed skepticism is indelible to the hippocampus." Thank you, Christine Blasey Ford. This stream has obviated my understanding of science. Indeed. Shall we continue to obviate?
Corrupted data,
Science.
inconsistent citations, mangled references, typos, grammatical errors, and formatting violations. This really goes beyond acceptable oversight. While Mike's dissertation draws a plausible conclusion that leaner, stronger, and more muscular athletes tend to perform better, it falls short in yet another critical scholarly domain. It doesn't demonstrate that the methods used are appropriate, nor does it exhibit a clear understanding of their principles, strengths, and limitations. Nowhere is this clearer than in the treatment of the extreme group comparisons, which are used repeatedly throughout chapters 3, 4, and 5. In each case, Mike selects the top and bottom 5 performers from each of 4 sports, and discards the middle 50% of the sample. This is a bold analytical decision, particularly in a dataset of only 80 athletes. Yet the only explanation
shit.
offered is that this
Yeah.
was done, and I quote, to allow elucidation of relationships between fitness characteristics that illustrated meaningful differences by obviating the majority of athletes that performed close to the mean.
This again.
An additional reason for such selection was
What?
to counterbalance each group against sport and sex type, as the groups have equal numbers of athletes from each sport as well as equal numbers of athletes of the same sex. This explanation is repeated across the thesis 3 times with the exact same wording and without elaboration.
It's
What's
actually
missing is a
incomprehensible.
discussion of why removing the middle 50% is the best
I don't know what
approach
the
to
fuck I just
identify
heard.
Nor do I. That's not jargon.
That was
It's
gobbledygook.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was wondering,
it's not-
am I an idiot for not understanding what the fuck he just said?
no.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
it's not that it's.
I'm
it's
glad
not
it's
that
not just
jargon.
me.
Oh yeah,
No,
because I went
yeah,
like,
exactly.
what the fuck did he just say?
I read scientific papers every day, and that is not jargon. That is just slop. It's pure
Yeah. Okay,
trough.
the chat is very much the same as like, what the fuck did we just translate
What?
that, please? Yeah. Okay,
I don't
so
think
it's not just me.
no, translation unavailable.
meaningful relationships. Couldn't those average performers have contributed valuable information to a more nuanced analysis?
Yes, they could.
What are the
They
trade-offs
should be included.
involved in narrowing the sample in this way? Why not use regression models that preserve the
Yes.
full data set and allow for
Yes,
statistical
yes.
control of sex and sport instead?
Yes. If you use a regression model, then you can put the entire thing in the model fit and account for it statistically. That's why I said in the beginning, like, the stats made no sense. You could just use a regression model to be able to do this without actually discounting the data within the total model. It doesn't, and throwing it out, and doing so, limiting your sample size to so small as to be statistically non-significant no matter what you do. So yeah, just if you have 88, which is a very low sample to begin with, but fine, given that this is a particular kind of subject matter, you might have a small sample size. It's not terrible. By throwing out the middle 50%, and particularly, he said focusing on the 5 lowest and 5 highest, which is more than 50% being excluded, then yeah, you don't have to do that in terms of cutting them out of the data. You can just account for this with a regression model. That makes no sense why to cut that out.
And I would assume that this is all stuff that you should be well aware of by the time that you get into doctorate school.
Sure. The basic two, like the most simple advanced, but the two kind of basic statistical analysis that you must learn if you're going to do anything like this in grad school is ANOVA and regression. And so it's analysis of variance, and then regression, which allows you predictive ability. And yeah, you could easily calculate for this. So that makes ANOVA and regression are also not complicated in any way. It's very simple stuff. That's crazy.
Of manually balancing the groups. These are questions that
And well,
naturally
on your
arise
point
or
about
to be
the sample
anticipated in a rigorous
size
defense
as well, Aid.
Mm-hmm.
On your point about the sample size, from what I have seen of people who have critically analyzed a lot of literature that gets passed through the exercise science field, the whole field suffers from chronically low sample sizes in all of these studies because as was mentioned in the chat earlier, just like actual useful participants are few and far between, and they oftentimes have to settle with people who just kind of go the gym at whatever university that they're studying at.
And you do have to work around that. But the thing is that you are able to make some sort of statistical calculations based on not 5, but on 88, yeah, you could. It's 88 is excuse me. That's under. I would say 100 is about what you want to be able to start to make any kind of statistical inference. Really, 200 to 250 is about where you want to aim at, but 100 is okay. 88, and now he's limiting it to 5. There's nothing that you can draw from that is statistically significant in any way. It just potentially, it cannot happen from numbers that small.
Sorry, the mic.
Oh shit.
Fuck's sake. Oh wait. The XLR in the magic position. Let's go.
There you go. Sorry.
I wonder how worthwhile it might be to try and get you to watch one or two of Jeff, particularly where he did
Oh,
recently
hang on.
mentioned earlier on, he was like responding.
Wait, it's cutting out a ton.
Your mic
I
is
think that
cutting out a lot now.
Was it?
Get into the magic position.
Sorry.
again.
All
There we
right.
go.
Is that better? Is it?
There
Is
we
Yes.
it working? Is it working?
There we
There we
go.
yes, yes.
So there was the video earlier that I mentioned where he was responding to the criticism of him defending the obviously fake natties, right? And in that, he was using a study that he actually walked through a little bit of the methodology. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it would be interesting, given that, as I've said, Jeff Nippard likes to flash up a study here and there on screen and then make it go
Right.
away, to give
Yeah.
the impression of an authoritative and well-reasoned take. If it would be worth showing you at some future point one or two of these other videos where he goes a little bit more in depth into these studies, so just so that you can assess the quality of these studies, some of which, like the one that he mentions, are basically some of the like foundational pillars on what exercise science is based off of and what people use as a rule of thumb in gyms to this day, if they actually hold up to any kind of scientific scrutiny.
You may not want to show me those papers, and I would be more interested in actually just reading the paper than seeing. Although the video is fine as well, but my whole problem here is I couldn't read his freaking disc because it's been removed or blocked by the university. This is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And provided there's supplementary data as well, I can reconduct the entire analysis. But I highly doubt there's sub data here. That being said, yeah, so much research gets passed through this process that is absolute bunk because no one ever looks at it. Not with an eye trained for what you're supposed to look for, and that's what I was trained to do. So
Well, yeah, 'cause
and I like doing it.
That's what I'm getting at here, is that I think a lot of these people, because you're highlighting so many things in this analysis, as Solomon did as well, that I never would have been able to pick up myself, being much more of a layman and not having done any major studies into like this statistical analysis, right?
Yeah,
I'm
It's just
just
practice
wondering,
and
so much of
familiarity.
these people, so much of these people's authority seems to be based very accurate assumption that most people aren't going to know what I'm talking about when I go through the
Yes.
details. They'll just hear me throw a bunch of numbers out and say a scientific study said, and they'll go along with it because it sounds authoritative and I'm saying it confidently.
it's so yeah. I'd love to look through it. It's frustrating to me because it's like I do the opposite where I explain everything too much, I think, and then no one's interested in that either. But because again, this is what gets you 4 million subs on YouTube, is throwing up a study on screen and saying I'm Doctor whatever, and trust me, bro, and then not actually explaining anything. That's what gets you, because yeah, it's appealing to the masses, and I understand why it is. But yeah, I'd love to look at some of that
the
data.
chat has asked. The chat has asked, does Nippard do the classic smooth edit a study page here, highlight the title in yellow, move on? Yes.
Yes.
You have
Oh,
literally
wow.
described the exact process. That's what he does.
He relies on great
Fantastic.
editing.
Well, go
And
watch
being
my
very
videos. I'm gonna
calm.
put the actual graphs on screen and highlight the specific. But that doesn't work either. I understand why they do it. This gets clicks. However, eventually it appears to come back and bite you in your fat ass,
It's slick.
as it has in this case. Yeah.
Yeah, when one Aussie autist decides to ruin your entire career.
It is actually so easy to do.
The
To
running,
just
the
ruin
running
someone's
joke on
career.
this was
He's just
that,
been very successful with it.
Yeah, the running joke was that Solomon put more effort into shredding the dissertation than Mike did writing it. Which seems to be true, actually.
I mean, he did.
Almost assuredly.
Yeah.
Almost assured. How could you not? It
Did-
really
didn't-
reads like he
Didn't
read this
Solomon
in a weekend.
say at the beginning of this he's studying like law or something?
Yes.
Yeah. It was law
Yeah,
school.
well, that makes sense. He's basically litigating. He's litigating the career of Mike Israetel in front of our very eyes.
I don't know what you. I imagine you don't have to study a lot of mathematics in law school, but maybe to do the lodestar analysis. Yeah, actually, you would. That's not true. Yes, he would have to learn basic statistics in law school just to understand how to calculate lodestar, which is how you calculate fees, by the way. So, but to do a lodestar analysis, you would have to learn basic statistics in law school. You know, so even that is enough. And that was my point earlier in that you could learn a new field if you have the statistical basics there. You would need some time, but if you've got the data already available, the maths are the same. So you could do that. So, but the problem is that this guy does not have the basic mathematical understanding, so he couldn't, spread out into another field without
He doesn't
making
need it. He's got
similarly
160 IQ,
retarded
apparently.
mistakes. Right? Yeah, just a genius. Apparently.
The method.
Yeah, he was too busy being an expert in every other field than to become an expert in his own field.
Yeah, for philosophy
Apparently,
especially.
yeah.
Instead, they go unaddressed. The absence of methodological reflection in the thesis extends beyond sampling decisions. Bonferroni adjustments, a statistical method used to reduce the risk of false positives when multiple comparisons are made, appear to be applied inconsistently and reported unevenly.
Oh no!
While Chapter 5 includes a clear, albeit brief explanation of when and why the adjustment is used, earlier chapters
Even in a doctoral thesis, why would you explain what Bonferroni is? Okay.
lack this clarity. Across the thesis, there's no consistent rationale for when these adjustments are applied, nor any broader reflection on how these statistical choices affect the validity and interpretation of the findings. Similarly, Mike's thesis reports effect sizes alongside p-values, but often gives substantial rhetorical weight to non-significant findings with moderate or small, non-trivial effect sizes, without
It's fine to talk about that in
clarifying
the
how
thesis.
such differences should be interpreted in the broader evidentiary hierarchy.
Oh,
of the
that's not
study.
fine then.
None
Okay.
of this is to suggest that the thesis's analytical choices are necessarily unsound. Rather, the main issue is that Mike's thesis lacks a dedicated discussion, a page or two at least, where such choices are confronted and defended openly.
Hey, it's fine to talk about how, like, hey, we found this relationship, but it didn't reach statistical significance. That's fine, because you're pointing out a valence direction there for further researchers to investigate. But you then have to make the argument as to why you talked about it, even in a thesis which is very long and intended to be a book, essentially.
Section titled, say, on the appropriateness of the methods used could have addressed why specific analytical strategies were chosen, what their limitations were, and how the findings should be interpreted in the light of those limitations. Without this, the dissertation comes across as methodologically opaque. The consequence is a thesis whose conclusions, however plausible, rest on foundations that haven't been clearly shown to be secure. This alone is sufficient grounds for the thesis to be sent back for revision.
Yeah, I agree.
A doctoral
This
thesis
is now
has to demonstrate
amazing to me, by the
deep
way.
critical engagement
Pausing
with a
it here.
complex body of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a really fantastic analysis. I am sorry, I am very tired, and there's still half an hour of this video
Yeah.
to go. So
I was gonna
I'm
ask,
gonna
actually.
have to tap out. I am
I'm
gonna
actually
have,
myself as
have
well.
to tap out because it's taken us 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's taken us 3
Yeah.
hours to get 40 minutes in, and there's half an hour left. So I'm gonna have to say I'm calling it here, boys. It has been,
Understandable.
I actually want to kind of go as well because I haven't eaten yet for a while.
Okay, I agree with this assessment.
and we know
Do
how
you
much
guys want to
Yeah.
do you want to pick this up some other day, or
Yeah,
I can
we
write down
can.
a timestamp on it? If you feel so inclined, I can't believe how bad this is. It's
I could tell how much you're loving this right now, Aiden, so I don't want to
know.
steal that last half an hour from you.
no.
So like we can pick this up next week or something.
Yeah.
That's fine by me.
Sure,
Yeah.
that'd be cool by me.
There's
as
a
well.
reason
Let me
why we
make sure
had
that
you on
it's
it because we knew you would get
41.
nerdy over the number.
I don't understand
Yeah, see, we
much about the
had
practical.
rolled out at the beginning of the stream, but the rest has just been.
It's just Aiden's autism, yeah.
Yes, I can't contain it. I'm sorry.
been
This is
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, it's probably very annoying, but maybe
it's
help.
fine.
I don't know. This guy's completely correct.
Not at
Uh,
all.
I think this is hilarious.
Wow.
one of the funniest things I've maybe ever seen in terms of what I find academically funny.
Academia, yeah.
So, yeah. I've got a couple of super chats here, which I'll read, and then we will close out for now. We may pick it back up next week or some other time. Hats Up Over 5 says, that was that. I got that one. Sorry. It's just this one from Grant Nick for 5 who says, sorry, my other super chat got lost, was in reference to SAR SARMs and their presence in first responder and military life. I'm not familiar with that either,
That's a
friend. I'm
drug.
sorry. Oh, SARMs. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ask
I
me
don't know
why.
anything
not.
about
SARMs is not as intense as far as I know as Tren or some of the other more extreme ones, but it can still have major side effects.
That's most of the anabolics.
Okay. Anywho, guys, this was really, really fun. At least for me. I hope you all had fun too. But if we pick it back up, I've got the timestamp written down. If you want to hang out and continue to laugh at this guy, I'm certainly down for it. But thank you all for showing up for this. Was not an impromptu stream, but kind of became one.
Who knows? By then, this will probably have developed even more.
Well, there's
Probably,
multiple
yes.
responses. This is just one.
Yeah.
This is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, and we only got halfway through it.
This was the instigating incident, but
Yes.
it's still it's like snowballed since then.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you all for showing up. Harry, thank you for stopping by. Sorry again, I know about the weird mic stuff. But yeah, we'll see y'all later. Cheers.
Oh no,
bye-bye.
it's my pleasure. Hopefully next time my XLR will
Yeah.
behave. All right.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
There we go.